So Africa, a place where poverty and pandemic diseases are originated. The least wealthy continent per capita. The land where the only things to be found are animals, corrupted leaders, poor kids, dirty water and civil wars. People who are in need for help, donations and support, aka the NGO's motherland. For others, honestly, Africa is just a very hot, dark and sad place everyone wishes to escape one day. Well, whether you're an African or not, this thinking isn't new to you, because you have read, heard or felt the same way before. Just type the word Africa on Google right now. Turn on your TV and see what the NGOs portray. Watch movies from Hollywood. Ask your mama, friends, or ask yourself, what is Africa? Yet if you're still struggling to believe, let me ask you this. What comes to your mind when you hear the word Africa? Tell me the first thought that comes to your mind right now. Honestly, tell me right now. But what really is Africa? What is Africa? Listen, there are many theories about the name, but one that is close to the truth is Al-Kebulan. This name translates to Mother of Mankind, or according to other sources, the Garden of Eden, the place where love, peace and unity dwells. Al-Kebulan is an extremely old word. Many nations in Africa use this word, including Ethiopians, Nubians, Moors and Numidians. For me, this isn't just the theory, but the truth. My truth I choose to believe in. As cliche as it sounds, that's the future I'm hoping for. The tomorrow I'm fully determined to see. The dream I am convinced and dedicated to fighting for until it happens. What is Africa for you? A journey to one Africa. Why do I love Africa? I love Africa because I'm African. There is no one else to love Africa except me. There's no one else to protect Africa, to defend Africa, except me, because I'm African. It's my pride, it's my heritage, it's my nature, it's in my blood. I have African blood in me. We might be speaking different languages, we might be like wearing different clothes. Today I look like Habesha here. We might be eating different food, but the fact that you're African and I'm African, I love you. You know, when you go abroad, nobody call me Tanzanian. They call me African. And whatever I do, they don't say, Mika did this. They say, African, that African guy has done this and that. So I represent Africa. You represent Africa. We represent Africa. That's the reason why we're here today. That's the reason why we should love one another. That's the reason why we should protect one another. That's the reason why we should stand for one another. Because if you fail, I fail. If you don't have peace, I don't have peace. If you die, I die. And if you survive, I survive. And that's what we need. We need people who will love Africa with everything they got. Because out there, nobody loves Africa. And it's my responsibility. It's our responsibility to love Africa, to defend Africa with everything we got. Thank you so much.
We love you, Mika.
Good evening, family. Good evening, family. Good to be here. Thank you for all your love and support. I know most people were expecting to see His Excellency Mika to be here live. And it's quite a shocker for some people to see me. It's been a while since I've been here on the live streams, but I've been in the background. I've been just checking things as well. Thank you, family. Just a word of appreciation for all our subscribers, the Swahili Nation, One Africa family, for all your love and support, and for always being there for us until we reach this milestone of 300,000 subscribers. It's been a great journey. It's been, wow, it's been a journey. I mean, just last year, we're celebrating the 200,000 subscribers. And looking at this year, we've just hit another milestone of 300,000 subscribers. Thank you for the love and the support. Continue supporting Swahili Nation, One Africa. It really means a lot as a family. And support Africa, support this platform as a media platform, as a tool for information. Thank you very much. I'm sure His Excellency has already said more, but just another word of appreciation for all our subscribers, all our supporters for the channel. Thank you very much. It really means a lot. It's a new level, 300,000 subscribers. It's a new level, family. So thank you as we journey into this level. Continue supporting us, continue encouraging us, continue praying for us. As His Excellency will always say, that we need your prayers and we need to pray for our people. And before I start doing anything, as you know, family, we always start with prayer. And to some people, I'm new to their faces. You might not know me, but my name is Ezra. Sorry for not introducing myself. My name is Ezra. I'm based in South Africa, and I'm a Swahili Nation, One Africa family. And it's been a great journey with Swahili Nation, One Africa, and I've been one of the co-hosts as well. Just in this year, I've not been active in terms of being on the live streams, but I have been in the background for the most part. And yeah, thank you, family. Thank you, family. And I'm just going to start with the word of prayer, and then we can start from there. There's a lot coming, but yeah, I'll start with the prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for being with us this day. Thank you for this opportunity to be here with the people. We thank you, Father God, for the grace. We thank you, Father, for this opportunity. We thank you for all our subscribers as they've supported us to reach this milestone of 300,000. We thank you, Father, and we ask that you continue blessing them as well. Bless their families, bless their friends, bless everything that they touch. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. So, thank you very much. Wow. Family, I think there's been a change of plan. Apologies for that. My guest was supposed to be coming in right now. We're supposed to be having a guest who is passionate about Africa, who's passionate about drug addictions and just different addictions in general. But he's somebody who's survived, who was rehabilitated, who was a drug addict at some point in his life. And he has converted his life. He's spreading the message about drug awareness and how to, and also assisting people who are also into drugs, who are addicted to hard drugs like cocaine, all these other drugs that you can think of. So he's a brother, but he's telling me I'm struggling to find him now. He's having some issues with his connection and stuff. So we'll wait for him. Hopefully he will join us, and then we can hear his story and he can share something about his life, his journey as somebody who was addicted to drugs, and who's now sort of a counselor, who's an advocate for change when it comes to this kind of situations. So yeah, bear with me, family, and hopefully he'll join us very soon. But yeah, but you know, the beat goes on. We need to continue regardless while we wait. And I'm sure this is a global problem, a global a problem where people are faced with this addictions, different addictions. It doesn't have to be drugs only. There's alcohol, there's domestic violence. There's a lot that we can even talk about when it comes to addictions and abuses of substances and other things. So yeah, just I see some people already here. I see family. I see like Marit. Thank you, Marit, for your blessings. I receive the blessings. Thank you, Benson Gami. Thank you very much, Benson. And I'm not sure which language is this, from Leonardo Tenkati. Wow. And also shout out to Patrella Bell, saying more drugs and guns are heading your way. ECOWAS should be very concerned. Foreigners want to destabilize Africa. Wow. Talking about that, drugs are already in Africa. Hard drugs are already in Africa. And countries like South Africa, for example, I can talk from where I am. It is an issue. It is a sort of you can call it a pandemic. Drug addictions are a pandemic. There is an issue of drugs in Africa, and it is affecting a lot of young people from reaching their full potential and also disturbing their own future. So it's something that we are faced with at the moment. It's not something that's even coming. It's just a matter of us. How do we really respond to it, and how do we make sure that our kids are aware of this temptations, and how do they go about not partaking in them, you know? And yeah, so this brother is based in South Africa, and he was addicted to drugs. So I'm just trying to check up on him. Just trying to check up on him to come and join me again if he's still having issues. So just send him a message, a text message now, if he's okay. But anyway, we'll still continue, family. I don't know about your countries where you guys are. Just drop your comment there and just say you're connecting from which country. And like talking about drugs, how is the drug situation in your countries, family? I will really want to find out, and what has been. And if you've been a drug addict, or even not a drug addict, there's a lot of addictions out there. If you've been addicted to pornography, there's so much that people go through every day that they struggle with, and there's people that have survived those addictions, and they have a story to share with the world. And if it happens that you are one of those people who was addicted to something, substance, whatever, I mean, just come through and really come and share your story and how you overcame the drug problem or the addiction in your life, you know. So it'll be very interesting to hear more from everyone. Wow, Genevieve. Wow. I like your statement saying, I think more than anything, trauma is the driving force of drug addiction, and we need to heal. Wow. And I see Genevieve, you connecting from Namibia, which is just close to South Africa so much. Culturally, in terms of infrastructure, we share a lot with Namibia in terms of culture and lifestyle. And I'm sure in Namibia, it's also one of those countries that are having challenges with drug addictions and different kinds of addictions that you can, as a country, face. Looking at your close proximity to South Africa with so many social ills and so many challenges. But yeah, anything, family, if you are in a country where you are faced with drug problems. We know the US has a big drug problem. It's not an African thing that we are faced with, because sometimes it's something that we hardly talk about in Africa, about addictions, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's pornography. We need to talk about those things as a continent, because those are the slow killers of any nation. Sometimes we just look at the political system and we think, oh, it's the politics, the politicians who are messing up. But what is happening in society at the moment? What is happening in society at the moment? What are our societies feeding themselves into? You know, alcohol, all those things. How are they handling those things? And is it becoming a problem in a country? And as a country, how are you going to resolve those things that will come with changes coming to your countries? And I've seen a lot of countries in Africa, it's been something that is not really talked so much about. The politics of the day really take a lot of the conversations about things that are happening. But the social ills, the certain things that are happening on the ground that we hardly talk about. And I think it's high time that we also talk about the slow killer, the killer that is really going after the youth of Africa. And they know the youth of Africa, if the youth of Africa can really stand against addictions and can manage all their resources, all the things that is put on under their care, they'll be able to develop this continent to another level. But if we don't talk about these issues, we'll have a problem where even if we solve the political issues, the policies, the foreign policies, but internally we as a country or as a continent, we are not resolving our issues, you will have problems. And yeah, family. So please, if you've got something that you've had to deal with, traumas, as Genevieve says, sometimes it has to do with trauma. As a driving force of drug addiction, and we need to heal. And Genevieve, I really love to know, how do we heal? How do we heal? And I'll also just open the lines, family. I will share the stream, the link, because I think my brother here is still struggling. I'm just checking up on him again, trying to give him a call, just to find out how far he is and stuff. But in the meantime, if you've been through those traumas where you had to use drugs as a coping mechanism, or drugs as a, I don't know, as a substance to deal with whatever you had to deal with, or as something that you do on as your go-to thing for your leisure time. We know with alcohol how it starts. It's normally like social events. It starts innocent, but when it's not a control, then somebody can really damage their lives and lose a lot. Family, kids, it affects a lot of people. Drug addictions especially, and even pornography. We need to talk about those things. It's not just alcohol only, but it's something that I think we should really be discussing as Africans, that here are the things that are slowly creeping into our countries, and they're affecting a lot of youth more than the older people. A lot of youth are consuming those things secretively, others they can't hide anymore because it's all in their faces and stuff. So please, family, I'm just gonna send the StreamYard link for those who want to come and join me in the meantime, while we wait for our brother who wants to share his story and who wants to share his positive story about how he overcame the drug addictions. So please share the links, share the YouTube links to family and friends to come and join us. And also, I'll be sharing the StreamYard link for tonight. I know it's been a while since people came and joined, but those who feel that they have a story to share, or things that they think we should be doing as a continent to avoid or to come against the drug addictions, the different addictions that are out there in society that have a slow killer in our society. So I'm just going to share the StreamYard link, so you guys can come and join me in the meantime. And if you want to come and contribute anything, come and do that. I mean, let's talk, family. Let's talk. I think we are a family, and we need to talk openly about things that are happening. As a continent, we're not perfect. As a continent, we are growing, yes. As a continent, we have so many challenges, yes. And we are here for solutions. We are not here to just cry all the time. But we want solutions as a family, not as one person coming up with all the solutions for everyone. So we don't want one size fits all. We know there's different solutions to all the problems that as a continent we are facing. So come and join us. Let's talk about this thing, the drug addictions, pornography, all kinds of addictions. There's people who are addicted to food. I mean, as good as it is, food, but there has to be sort of a limit in terms of how much you really have to consume, and looking after your body and looking after your your health. So yeah, come and join us. Genevieve, I would really love to hear from you. You've got so many interesting points that I'm seeing there. One of your points that you just raised now, you said sometimes we need to find out the root issue. Wow, which is very true, like having to find out the root issue instead of just trying to handle the issue from a point of someone is there, but how did this person get into this thing, and what led that person to be addicted to drugs? So Genevieve, I'll really be happy if you had to join me and we can talk about this thing, you know, because you seem to have a lot that you have and so much insight about how we can resolve this issue. And your other point, you said, I think addiction is a symptom of what really happened to you. Wow. Wow. I don't know if you can elaborate on that. Is it something to do with childhood? Is it something to do with life experiences, an scapegoat? Can you maybe elaborate further on that, Genevieve? So yeah, family. So let's do this. Let's talk. I see. It seems like wow. Okay. I think we have somebody on the line already coming to join us, and we have Lilak Udundo on the line, and welcome, Lilak.
Thank you.
Yes, how are you, Lilak?
I'm fine.
Good, thank you. And where are you connecting from?
From Limuru Road.
Where?
Limuru Road.
And which country is that?
This here in Kenya.
In Kenya. Oh.
Yes.
Wow, Kenya. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. It's good to hear people from Kenya joining us, and glad that you join us tonight. And you are the first caller.
Wow.
You're one of the first person to come in and join us on the 300,000 level.
Okay.
Yes, Lilik. You said Eldoret, right?
No, Kenya.
Yeah, in Kenya, is it Eldoret?
No, it is Roslyn in Limuru Road.
Oh, okay. I've seen some people. I've never been to Kenya, but it's also a destination that I'm looking to visit. I really love to do Kenya. I've have some friends there. I've had friends from school that were from Kenya that I still keep in touch with. Some of them, yes, but they others are overseas. Others are back in Kenya. And yeah, it's a country I've never been to, but hopefully before the end of this year, I'll really come to Kenya and enjoy Kenya, because I've seen so much about Kenya. I've heard so much about Kenya, and I think it's only fair that I really visit Kenya. And
it's true. Karibu.
Karibu sana. Asante sana. I'm trying my Swahili. You know, I need to really take classes. Paul was supposed to teach me more Swahili, and he disappeared on me, you know.
Okay.
And how's Kenya? How's where you are in Kenya? How's life there in Kenya?
It's cold. Every day
Is it?
there are protests, so we're just watching to see how things go.
Oh, so the protests are still going on in Kenya,
Mm.
because it's something that we've really not been touching base a lot about. I know that one of our colleague, Wenda Tezi, talked about it a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
we really haven't gone deeper into this issue of the riots in Kenya. But we will be covering more about Kenya and those riots and the issues that are raised by the people there in Kenya.
Okay.
Um, and how are you handling it there? How's things? Is business running? Are there a lot of disruptions, or is it only in few places?
Okay, it's actually everywhere, but mostly in Nairobi. So when they have the protest, people don't go to work. But of late, even with the protests, they still go to work because you still have to put food on the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what, like, if you had to just share with the people at home, because there's people who might not really know what's happening in Kenya. They might have had the oil protest earlier in the year, but why are they still continuing? What's the issue? What are the core reasons for this protest?
The issue is the election we had last year. The current government say they won. Even the Supreme Court agreed with them, but the opposition say they didn't win, that it's them who won. So everyone now is fighting for positions. And they're saying, oh, we're fighting for the people, but everyone knows, no, it's just for themselves.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. So now, and in terms of the resolution, is there a way forward in terms of how they're gonna uh, uh, um,
Solve
what's this?
the issue.
Oh no, I was saying like now, what seems to be like what's stopping the? Why are they not reaching an agreement in terms of how things should be run and how how to resolve this matter?
Okay, before everyone had their own ego, but now they've been forced to form a committee who will discuss the issue and come up with the way forward. So let's hope it works because they always do that. Always, all these elections, they always do that.
So it seems like it's something that's been occurring now and then with the elections. I know in our continent it's something that we really need to overcome. Election votes, election results. There's always some sort of controversy when it comes to elections.
Mm, true. So true.
And Lila, just like today's topic, I think my brother's still struggling, and
Mhm.
but we'll still continue with the show with regards to drug addictions or different kinds of addictions.
Mhm.
What are the big issues in Kenya when it comes to addictions? Do you guys have a lot of drug problems, or are you having a lot of what kind of addictions that come to the like mainstream media? Maybe because the stuff that comes to the mainstream media, others is
Mhm.
just something that people don't talk about, but they are there.
Yeah. Okay, I'd say in the universities there's a lot of drug abuse and it's easy to find, easy to buy. I mean, people there have money, the students, especially private unis, so it's just normal. And then also in the coast, there's a lot of drug problem in the coast. And you find most of those people who take them are jobless. They just sit the whole day chewing and sniffing and injecting. Mm.
And are there programs in place from government rehabilitation centers and maybe even NGOs coming into the party to assist the young people
Mm.
with this issue?
Okay, there are few, but if it's public, I don't think they're so committed. But private are there and they're very expensive. And you find the people will stay clean for a while, then go back. So you wonder it's not even helped. And your parents have spent millions trying to sort you out. So I don't know how it can be sorted.
Hmm.
Mm,
Wow. But then,
mm,
as a society, like, what, like, are these people getting support, or what's
mm.
happening with that?
It's stigma. So most families keep it under wraps. That
Hmm.
my son is just okay, he's just taken a break from work or school, he's feeling a bit under the weather. They don't tell you the real issue. Because society really stigmatizes you in Kenya.
Hmm.
Mm,
Wow.
mm,
I, I didn't realize that there's a big stigma, which is a problem. If there's stigma about uh, um, kids or young people who need direction, if they need direction and people are withdrawing from them, it just makes the situation even worse.
it's true.
Um, and I think it's something that we really need to be talking more about, because I've noticed that in most African countries, it's not just Kenya only, but a lot of disappointment from families when somebody, like, for example, a child misbehaves,
Yeah,
or maybe falls pregnant at a young age. Those
yeah.
stigmas are still there. Like, wow, you bring shame to the family, or, you
Mm,
know.
mm. Or if you get AIDS and not well, like what? Especially if you're young, it's really hard.
Wow.
Mm,
So these things, I mean, and this issue of drugs,
mhm.
is it more to do with access, and or what is it? Or is it, where is it more concentrated? Is it found more mainly in the big cities, universities, or is it something that's just across the country?
No, it's big cities, universities, people who have money, because they're
Hmm.
quite expensive. Mm,
Wow.
mm,
Because with my experience knowing a little bit about like accessibility, access to drugs and stuff, right
mm-hmm.
now there's all kinds of drugs. There's the cheap ones, and there's the rich, the expensive ones. So,
Yeah, yeah, I know the cheap ones are the ones those guys in Coast take and matatu drivers and touts. Those are those
mm,
cheap ones. Then the expensive ones are now for the rich and middle class. Mm,
wow, 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 wow. And
mm,
what do you think, as Kenya, for example, if you know the landscape, you know the mindsets mostly of communities and the people that live in Kenya, what do you
mm,
think Kenya should be doing to combat this thing? I mean, you already mentioned that there's stigma, but the
mm,
stigma won't help if even if we reject those people and we try to distance ourselves, the people are there and they're addicted. What do you think Kenya should be doing to reach out to them, and how to rehabilitate such people and give them
mm,
help, and help even those who might be potential addicts as well?
mm. Okay, we have the government has I wouldn't call it a parastatal, an organization sort of called NACADA, which is trying to help rehabilitate such people, show them it's wrong, la la la. But the problem is that it's been infiltrated by politicians who just want to make money. So they'll say they're doing something, but they're not. So if they could get the right people in that place, then at least we'd see a bit of change. But now that all depends on the government now. Because as a person you might not be able to pay those high bills, and the normal hospitals don't offer those services. So yeah.
Hmm.
Mm,
So somehow corruption is also playing a role why this thing is not being resolved.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm,
Ah, Man, this is not good. But we'll continue praying for Kenya. And again, what are the ways that I think you left out how we can go about really some of the issue, some of the solutions, because sometimes when we talk about issues here on our platform, some people will say come up with solutions, and this is a platform where we need also solutions instead of just raising our
The
cries only to say, oh, this is the problem here. But
yeah.
yeah, let's. Do you have hope?
For me, I used to work with a human rights organization, national, and the people who would come were especially the low income who couldn't afford legal representation. So I don't know if that organization is still there, but there was one where they give you free lawyers to defend you. And then also in that one, I think now an avenue for people to do if they could get free, because they have such organizations for children, for women. So if they could come up with such an organization for drug addicts who could go there and just be taken up completely by that NGO or whatever, and worked with until they're finally okay. And then maybe they can partner with the state to now offset some of those costs. I think that would help. I don't know what you think. I can't hear you.
I think from my side, the main thing, it has to start with the families. I mean, awareness first, to make sure that the community is aware that this is the issue and this is a problem, this is a challenge. This is not a challenge for, even if your child is not addicted to doesn't have any addiction, do not take it for granted to say, as long as my child is behaving, those people, it's their problem, because tomorrow your child could be the one who's addicted or who's in problem, who might be the potential, who might be one to even start smoking those things.
It's true.
So we do really need to remove the stigma through education, through educating the society to say people get into this because of I think one of our friend Genevieve said traumas. People have other traumas. They're trying to run away from those traumas. They're trying to take things as a coping mechanism for them. So they end up going to drugs, alcohol, womanizing, you name it. There's a lot that people go into just to fill a void or a gap, So it's something that we need through education and through removing the stigma to the people and making them understand to say, family, when you see this, please be aware, be on the lookout, because it's not just the community only. It's not just somebody else who's going through this. This might be your child. This might be even this very same person who has a stigma against those who are smoking and doing all these things, So yeah, but really, this region where you live, is it next to Nairobi or is it next to Mombasa, Kisumu? I all hear these names, Eldoret. I hear these names, but honestly, I can't tell me the very specific regions or towns around those cities.
Okay, it's in Nairobi. Have you ever heard of Runda or Village Market or Gigiri, where UNEP headquarters are?
Not really. The name sounds familiar. I've heard about Easterly. I've heard about I think Rumba. I think I might have
Yeah.
Karen or something like that. I've heard about what's the names, man? Those names just ran away from my tongue right now. But I've heard about so many Westlands or something like that.
Yes. That's in Nairobi.
I've heard about some of the suburbs. I've heard about them with some YouTubers, through some people who travel there and stuff.
Okay. You should come and visit. Then you go around everywhere.
I need
But
to. I need to.
so you need to be ready.
Yeah, you be my host when I come there. I know I've got so many people who love to host me, but
No
I'll come for I'll come and have nyama choma
problem.
and
Yeah, welcome.
and you know what's funny is that what you guys eat,
Ah,
most of what you eat is what we eat in here in the southern part of Africa.
yeah,
We eat similar food. East and south, we eat the same food. It
it's
only
true.
changes when you go west and when you go north.
But it's also the same. Yeah, it's true. Which country are you from?
I'm in South Africa. I'm from South Africa.
Okay, I've been there a couple of times. I was
Oh,
in
really?
Victoria and yeah, only those two.
Oh,
African,
so
yeah, just those two.
wow.
Mm.
That's. I'm also in those two cities.
Okay.
So Joburg and Pretoria. Those are my places.
That's the names.
Wow, what a small world. Next time when you come, I'll also be your host. I also do, you know, our nyamachoma, our braai. I'll do a braai for you
Very
and
well.
cook for you. You know,
That's very nice. Thank you. We'll also
I'll-
give our Kenyan hospitality.
definitely.
Yeah. It was
Uh,
a pleasure to meet you. Anything
eh,
else before I disappear?
No, anything you want to share. I mean, it's an open platform, guys. It's a
Uh,
weekend. You know, if you were maybe watching us from way back, I used to do mostly your Friday shows where I always tell people, "Come, let's talk about anything that comes to mind." It doesn't have to be the drug addiction, since our
uh,
guest um, seems to be having an issue and he might not be joining us tonight. So
uh-huh,
let's just talk, family. You know, if it's a case of him not joining us,
uh-huh,
let's talk family. Anything, it doesn't have to be about drugs, doesn't have to be about addictions, but we can
uh-huh.
even talk about what we were talking about last night, praying for Africa, and what has been those things that you've seen since we started praying for Africa. I mean, even His Excellency Mika has been on the forefront,
Mhm.
preaching on this thing of supporting us as Africa and working for Africa as well. So
Yeah.
anything you're willing to share, and something maybe to the world, because sometimes we as a continent, we also do not know each other very well, even though in the same continent, but we tend to just know where we are so much than other countries or our fellow brothers in the continent. And something that people should know about Kenya. Can you just do some fun facts about Kenya? What should people really be expecting when they come to Kenya?
You hit
Sell
me on
Kenya
the
to us.
spot.
We want to come to Kenya, but we have money, but we don't know whether to come to Kenya. Should we go to Kenya? Should we go to
Okay.
Tanzania, Malawi, Namibia, Nigeria? Where should we go? Why should we come to Kenya?
Okay, I'll start with Nairobi. It's the only city in the world with a national park. So you can go in, take a ride, and see the animals there. Have a nyama choma at a bomb at a, let me not call it a, maybe a bomb. I don't know how to explain, but yeah. And then if you're in a hurry and you don't have time for the game drive, we have safari walk. So it's like you walk through it's like a mini zoo. Then you see
Mm.
all the animals and all that. And then they have a restaurant where you can eat all the nyama choma and all the ugali and kachumbari. Then next door you have Bomas of Kenya, where you have African cultural dancers. A bit not far from there, you have Karen Blixen, the movie of Out of Africa. That's where she lived. Then we have Butterfly Farm, Animal Orphanage, Giraffe Center, Giraffe Manor, Mamba Village. You see the crocodiles. So that's Nairobi. And Kitengela glass. You go and buy glass vases and all those artifacts. Then there's the coast. You can enjoy Mombasa, though the best coastal experience I'd give you is you go to Diani, to the beach, and it's pristine, untouched, and unspoiled, but there's not much to do there. So you could start with Mombasa. You go and see Fort Jesus, how I think the Portuguese built it as a fortress in those days of scramble for Africa. Then that's beach safari. Then there's bush safari. That's Masai Mara. So you go for game drives. You can go to a hotel where if you're just relaxing, you have a plunge pool, and then you watch the wildlife. They serve you food in your room. The days you're relaxing, you go sit in the lounge, and there are books like the ones behind you. So you relax, enjoy, go for your game drives. You go to a cultural visit. So you visit a Maasai village, how they live. You enter their huts, which are called manyatas. You buy their Maasai market. I don't know if you've heard of it. The bracelets and all these ornaments. And then what else about that? I have a hot air balloon ride if you're adventurous. And then you have it when you land, you take a bush breakfast. And then now you go back to the hotel. So that's bush. Then I've seen a new one they're coming up with is desert safari in Chalbi Desert, which is northern Kenya. And then also you have Samburu there. You can go to these hotels where you walk with the animals. So you just have a Maasai guard with a gun in case the lion comes. You kill it with your guest. And then Western Circuit, Western Nyanza, those sides, you go and see Lake Victoria. You go to Kakamega Forest, bird watching. There's Kitmi Kai cultural tour site. Nakuru, Naivasha, you have Hyrax Hill. You go and see how prehistoric sites looked. That's Kariandusi. And then where else? Central, not too much. But around Limuru, you can go to the tea farms. Then you go for tea there. If they have one of them that you can sleep over, you enjoy agri-tourism.
If I can just interrupt you there, sorry to cut you there, Alila. I think another fun fact about Kenya that I know of is it's Africa's biggest tea producer. It's Kenya.
And coffee.
And coffee and flowers as well. Flowers as well.
Yes.
Thing in Kenya. Oh, but anyway, continue. Sorry about that.
No, I'm done. But most of the flower farms are in Naivasha. So you can choose any hotel in Naivasha. Then you go to the flower farms, you learn how they do it. You see the greenhouses also. And then if you have weddings and all, you can have them there also. If your guests don't mind paying for their accommodation. Yeah, and transport. Yeah. So there's a lot to see. I'm sure I've forgotten some things, but maybe I can refer you to a site. Just check www.zungukasafaris.com. I'm also learning about it, so I just look at many sites. But from that one, I've seen like they really do a good job. And like many other tour firms, which promise heaven and don't deliver. So anyway, you can check. I'm not recommending them so that if they don't give a good service, don't come back to me.
At least you put a disclaimer right there to say, hey.
Yes. But at least from what I've seen, they're doing a good job. Because I'm also a tourism student in USIU, Africa. So of all the work I've done, I've even done internship, all that, I've seen them, they seem to know what they're doing. And it's professional. Yeah.
Wow.
So now I wanted to ask you, of all those books behind you, which is your favorite?
My favorite, I'll have to look here because most of these are academic books. It's mostly like Java, because I'm someone who's in the IT field and stuff. There's mostly
Okay.
like those kind of books, coding and business
Okay.
there and there, but mostly it's
It,
like, yeah. Like for
uh,
example, this one,
uh-huh.
this is like this is a networks book.
Uh-huh.
It's a networks book. You see, mobile system.
Oh, wow. Wow. Hey,
So
then
there's
you
a
must push up. That work is hard. My friends
yeah, man.
always say, coding is so hard.
You see, this is like Java. It's like IT
Wow.
books. Old books though. These are very old, but it's an old book as well.
Yeah.
Some
It's,
old books that I had when I was studying. Some of them I still kept them.
yeah.
And very I there's very I have very few inspirational books.
Uh-huh.
Like there's those books where they talk about life, and I've got also
Yeah.
spiritual books where they talk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, then mostly here it's more academic books. It's nothing to do with
That,
like those kind of love books or fictions.
that
None
is
of those.
no. So if you're, because I'm from what I'm talking, from what I'm sensing, yes, you want to learn about life and also how you can make your continent better. So I'll advise you to go
Mm-hmm.
look for John Maxwell. He's a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, and he wrote a book called Leadership. And then he has podcasts. He has 1 minute with Maxwell. So if you can look at all that, I think you'll have to pay. So I don't know how much. But if you get it, you'll find the balance between life, professional, and what else? Let me just and the leadership, basically how to change life for you, your your career, and your nation and continent, but now from an American background and context. It's really nice. It's
Mm.
really, really nice. Yeah.
And, and you know what? I have a project, a Swahili Nation project,
Mhm.
and I'm really sorry to the family that I've not executed that project. There's a project to do a book club, like a
Yeah.
book review, sort of a stream or even a podcast where we review books. It's just
Wow.
time has not been something I've set aside, but there's a couple of people that are interested in doing that, and I think I'd love to have you on that group, and then we can also just uh, you know what, like really share books, review books, good books,
Yeah.
different books, whether spiritual, leadership,
Yes.
political,
Yes.
policies,
Mhm.
anything. We would love to, and maybe on the comment section, Lila, if you can just maybe share the name of the author and the book, and then for the viewers who are also listening, because some of them they might miss and say, they might want to ask me, and I might be struggling to even put the spellings correct and all that.
Okay. So it's this chat button,
Yes,
or
on
how
that
do I
chat.
say
Yeah,
chat?
go
Okay.
to chat and just write the title of the book, the title of the book and the author, and then we can
Oh,
also review that, and for the viewers as well to go and have a look at it. I'll also have a look at it and I'll check,
oh.
and yeah.
And then I wanted to say,
Hmm.
a friend of mine had actually, let me confess, it was a therapist. She told
Yeah.
me I should join a book club. So I told her, these Kenyans are so lazy. They don't want to read. So I'm beginning to find someone who likes books and which are interesting. So I'll finally find someone.
Yeah,
And
I mean, you'll be
yeah,
shocked how many people are out there who read different things.
it's
Some
good.
It's like with me, most of the time. Oh, I think I lost Lilac there, but Lilac, please, when you have a chance to come back. But I have the book. Um, um, I'll just share again with the family. The book, it's by The book is by John Maxwell, Dr. John Maxwell, Leadership. That's a book that she recommended that we read. Okay, there she's back again. Lilac.
Sorry, I
Welcome.
came and I didn't know how to remove chat and stay on.
And I
And
think
now
you,
the battery is complaining. Anyway, it's okay. Let's talk when it goes off, then we'll talk next time.
yeah, but we can talk. Don't worry. Let's talk. And I see my other brother from Kenya, my colleague here in Swahili Nation, Mendatezi is also here. I think he'll take offense if you say the Kenyans don't want to read. He's one of those intellectuals who'll say, "What? That's why maybe he woke up," you know. Mendatezi, my brother, please join me, man. I miss you. I miss your intellectual conversation and your show. He's also a co-host in Swahili Nation. He's just been busy, and he's also now based in Nairobi. He's from Mombasa, but I'm not sure if he's back in Mombasa. But I know he was in Nairobi for work. But yeah, Mendatezi, shalom to you in Kenya. You must come and join us here. I'm with my sister here, Lilac. We're just reviewing a book by, she just recommended a book called Leadership.
Sorry, it's Leadership. I think I typed it badly.
Oh, okay, like just post again. Just repost
and then I do it without coming out of the chat. How do I come back?
Or can you go to the okay, just drop it there. Let's see. You'll come back. Don't worry.
I'll come back. Okay.
Yeah, just drop just type in here. Are you using a mobile phone or are you using a laptop?
Yes, I'm using a mobile phone.
Oh yeah, that's a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Just drop it and reconnect again, and then we can. Then I'll post to the family.
Okay.
Yes. Mendatezi, what are you saying, man? You're saying what? Kenyans don't like reading. It's true.
That's why they say if you want to write something from an African, put it in a book, which is true. They don't read.
I think it's a big challenge for many people to read. What I've discovered when it comes to reading, I see. Okay, now I got it now. You didn't have to go. Yeah, I got it. I'm going to just share as well again to the on the comment section for the family. But reading, people, if they were, the trick to reading is not always to read don't read out of your interest. The trick is to read within your interest. If you maybe you love women, read something about relationships and stuff. If you love, maybe you're a prayerful person, read more books of men of God who've written books. Read the word of God. It's, you know, if you are you love technology, read technological books. There's a lot of technology books written where you can gain knowledge, skills, and knowledge at the same time, you know. So just look within your interest. Whatever you like, if you like reading about astronomy, there's books for astronomy. Read those things. There's everything, every book for everything. If you are into politics, you love political things, there's a lot of books by presidents and leaders and ministers, and you name them, that you can read. That's where you can start reading more. Don't worry about like somebody telling you, I've read 10 books. But if you look at how many books they read, you find they're within the scope of what it falls under their interest. So you have to look at your interest, then just also look and say, oh, I need to read something very difficult. You know, something when I talk, people will, no, read anything that's very interesting to you.
And even audio books are good. If you're tired, you just put it on and whatever enters, whatever leaves, whatever. Provided you got something.
Definitely.
YouTube. There's so many.
There's so many. So that's the trick. That's what I've learned, like with reading. I don't really read. If I'm not reading maybe the Word of God, the Bible, anything maybe political or like the new technologies, the new AI algorithms, or any of those things. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I just I look, where is my interest? Like, oh, what's new? I need to understand this. Wow, this people are talking about this. Then I'll sometimes you don't even need to read a book per se. There's articles, small
It's
articles online you can read, and you can really just within we find that an article is like what 4-5 pages, and you're done. You don't have to worry about like, ooh, such a big book, 300 and something pages. What am I gonna do with this?
or even magazines and journals on your areas of interest. It can be,
Exactly. That's what it starts.
yeah.
And I see we've got our sister Marie Antoinette, Cherie.
Hi, Ray.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Yeah, I'm
Hello, hello.
enjoying the show today. I arrived a bit late, but I'm enjoying it. Thanks so much. Yeah, I
Welcome.
I have some books to give, which I would like to donate to a place in anywhere on the continent, but I just don't know how to get it to the continent. That's what I'm looking for options right now, because it's most of them are science and mathematics books that I do not use anymore. Before I started medicine, I was geared towards engineering. So I have those books that I would like to donate to the continent. So whenever Swahili Nation is ready to do their educational project, I would be happy to participate in that. Yeah.
I
So
was just sorry there, Sherry. Like, I was just telling you like this, what you're saying now, that that's been a project that, yeah, I'm to blame for it. We're supposed to start that project like months ago, but before this year end, we need. I just need to find a slot where we can really do it, and
okay, no
also.
problem.
Mm, and also with Swahili Nation, I think the books we can look into getting a Swahili Nation library when we get enough space in terms of our offices, and also maybe donating to universities. I'm sure that the universities will love to take those books in,
Yes.
and maybe even schools, just for interest sake, for those who might need cross-referencing or people who are doing research, they might need those books. I know a lot of them use articles, conference papers a lot now, more than
Yes.
actual books to do their research, but I think they'll come in handy for PhD, master students, postdoc students. It'll really help.
Oh, if we could convert the books into PDF so that you don't have to be on site to benefit from the book. Yeah, because they are, rare engineering mathematics books that I don't use anymore, especially those would help with our endeavors for more innovation on our continent by our young people. So the engineering, mathematics, and physics books could serve as a foundation, like the theoretical foundation.
And also, you could look up for the National Archives. Like Kenya, we have Kenya National Archives. So it keeps a library, a repository of all the material that's written and published. So you can maybe check email, or if you have a number, you call them, and they really would appreciate donations, especially if you're outside. At least it would contribute more to knowledge of what happens outside Kenya.
Yes, yes. I'm in the Caribbean, so I
Oh,
need to get some shipping to
mm,
Kenya.
okay,
That's the problem.
that's understood.
But I think shipping can be arranged. It's just a matter of where to, you know. I think maybe we'll speak to His Excellency Mika in terms of what you are suggesting on the books.
Yeah.
And we can see where there's a need in terms of the National Archives, as she said, in Kenya. I think even South Africa has, and I'm sure even Tanzania has. So it's just a matter of where we can see the need and send those, and obviously talk to the institutions if they want, or if there's not NGOs that are willing to also take them. It'll be great, you know.
Because they're heavy books, so you know shipping is expensive. They're heavy books.
Now we'll get them here, no matter how heavy they are.
Okay. Okay.
We'll send Lilac to go fetch them. You know, she'll pay the extra luggage fee on it. We'll donate for the luggage fee. So, but another trick, just as we are ladies, as we are talking about reading, I think right now there's no like family, we should all be reading. I mean, there's the audiobooks, guys. Let's go for audiobooks. I know some people they don't want to go through this, they don't want to read like the hard copy. It's tiring for them. There's audiobooks, family, that you can download, that you can subscribe to platforms where you can listen to the audio, and much better, much easier without having to hustle about opening a book. I know some people, they get nightmares when they see books. You know, but and it's a trick, you know. Just something, a side note, side conversation, when talking about knowledge, how knowledge it's a mystery. It's something very mysterious as well. There was this lady who does she cooks for the homeless in my country. So she used to like invite us. I've got some friends who are ministers, who are men of God, who are pastors and stuff. So normally what she'll do is she'll invite us, and I'll be going with those friends of mine to those outreaches in the streets. So she'll normally do it in the evening, where she'll gather people to say, okay, I've got food for you guys. But before they even give out the food, the pastor will first start by preaching the word of God. So they didn't give them food before they can dish out for everyone. It's the word of God first, you know. So that's the trick we used, and it really worked. Even though you can see the guys, their eyes are sometimes not on the men of God, you know, especially if the preacher preaches for so long. The people, you can see their eyes are on the food, you know. They'd be like, hey, pastor, what time are you finishing? Because we are hungry. So it'll be a thing where we always looked, and I know the man of God will always sense, now the guy's concentration is gone. So I need to be very fast and be ready to dish out, because if you give them food before preaching, others will just take the food and say, hey, I'm in a rush to go somewhere. But if you start with the word, they're stuck because they want the food. So they'll just remain, and, you know, even if they're not paying attention, but they'll remain. And that really works. So sometimes we need to get to a place where we need to prioritize and look into these things to say, okay, how do we go about how do we gain this knowledge before we eat? Because if you call a lot of Africans to say, hey guys, there's free money, come and collect $100 each, I'm telling you, people will queue. But then if there's a catch, when before you get the $100 US, we say, can you read this portion? Read 10 pages, then you get $100 US. That's where now you remove laziness in people and the comfort of just getting things easier, you know. But yeah, interest, and people sometimes they tend to put effort into if they're going to get something, and they're forgetting knowledge is getting something. Sometimes that knowledge is a lifetime. Even if somebody can take your money, but the knowledge is within you, no one can take that knowledge from you. So we need to build and invest in things that are inside of us, that will help us. Even if you lose all the luxuries, the comforts, but the knowledge is within you, the knowledge you can still apply again.
It's true.
That's the beauty of reading as well. For those who think reading is like, I left reading at school. I know there's other Africans who'll come with all funny things. They'll come with all these ideas. They're like, you know what? You with your books, how much are you making? I have more money than you know. There'll always be those who will come with all this funny.
That's true.
That may not last too long. The books will keep you forever.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
But so when the Tezi, I see some of the. Can I just quickly go to the comment section? I see when the Tezi, Marie Antoinette, you are also there on the comment section. When the Tezi, come and join us, man. Please come and join us. And I see at what's in Fletcher. That's no, before going to Fletcher, there's Hazel Hygien. She also recommended a book called no. Am I no? What am I saying now? Peace, my beautiful Bantu people. No, it was Comedy Center. I'm just going back. Sorry about that. There's a lot that Comedy Center was saying. In fact, I went to indulge in researching African set history. The South African freedom songs breathe the warrior spirit in me, just like it does to Malema. Yeah, man. There's singing in everything in South Africa. Whether it's political, they sing. Weddings, sing. Funeral, they sing. They dance and sing and eat and drink. Everything. All occasions. Sad, good. You name it. Who else did I want to go to? Let's see. Fletcher Williams. Amen. He recommended a book called Basic Economic. Was it Economics? So Basic Economic by Thomas Sowell. Oh, okay. I think I know. I've seen Thomas Sowell. Also someone who's been a bit vocal on a lot of things online. I don't know. I think a lot of people might know Thomas Sowell. I know Thomas Sowell.
Yes.
I've heard of.
You've heard of him, right?
Yes, yeah.
On YouTube.
Oh, okay. Black Economic by Thomas Sowell. So, guys, family, please put more recommendation, more books, anything that you really want to talk about, from drug addictions to books. And something I would love to also ask you, Sherry, drugs or addictions in the Caribbean. How is that? Are you guys having a challenge of those issues?
Yes. I'm trying to remember who it was who prophesied that for this year that will be a big problem. I can't remember whose prophecy, but late last year, someone did prophesy that drug addiction would be a big problem in 2023. And I was, I haven't finished, but I intend to, when I find some time, do a presentation about use of drugs during pregnancy. And I'm not sure the way to approach this, because you see it's based on trauma that people are experiencing, And I don't want to just approach it from an academic standpoint. We need to find solutions to dealing with this trauma, because many of these people are in the church. You know, it's not as though they're not familiar with that option for coping, but things just went terribly wrong. A lot of injustice that they have suffered. So it's taking me a while to really find solutions that they have not tried before. And that's the kickback, really, the solutions. I don't want to simply talk about problems without solutions.
Mm. No. I guess we all have to look into the root cause of traumas, and also how do people cope? How must people cope? I mean, are they obviously there's different ways to cope, but there's also people who do not find those ways useful, and they tend to take a wrong path, and it leads to destruction. And so it's something that we really need to as Marie Antoinette said, like it's easy to just talk maybe on the scientific or the academic route, but there's a lot deeper than that in terms of the social structure of even people where they stay, because I've seen as well where you find maybe a lot of drug addictions or alcohol abuse or any of those things. Sometimes also the environment plays a big role in terms of the influences of how people tend to end up maybe getting addicted to those things. Hey, Mwenda Tezi. Welcome. I used to call you Mr. Mombasa.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm sorry. Let me clear my throat. I'm sorry. How are you guys?
Man, we're happy to see you. That's where we can start. We are good, but we're happy to see you.
Very happy to see you.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. Actually, first of all, let me say hi to my sister here, feeling the cold of Nairobi. We are suffering together.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Wilak.
Hello.
Hello. Karibu Swahili Nation. Karibu. Welcome to Swahili. Yeah. So, yeah, also let me just say hi to Cherian, Marie Antoinette.
Hello, Manitazi.
It's been a while, guys. I've missed you guys a lot.
It's been a while, but you have been in our prayers, both our brothers and sisters in Kenya and South Africa. Definitely.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And also, Pastor Ezra. It's been a while. Also, we've all missed the Friday shows. I don't know if they're coming back or.
They seem to be moving into Saturdays now. Maybe. I'm slowly but surely getting there.
But that's great to hear. Actually, I've really enjoyed you guys, your conversation and all that stuff you've been talking about, especially about drug addiction. And I don't know what touched you today to talk about this, because it's very ironic, because I was talking about this with a couple of youths. I do some a little bit volunteer work with the Red Cross. So we were having this a discussion on drug abuse, actually on July last month. I think last month was drug abuse month. I don't know if we follow these things, but I think it was last month, drug abuse, something like that. So we had a huge, okay, let me not put it as a huge, but we had a very interesting discussion just with some like Kenyan youth, just talking about and I actually wrote the notes down about the causes and effects of drug abuse, according to them, like according to us also, because I also think I classify myself amongst the youth. So yeah, I just wanted to support the conversation, say hi to my sisters and brothers. I didn't want you to be, crowded here too much by women. We need to find balance.
Definitely, man.
I still remember your presentation on marijuana addiction, I think it was. Yeah.
Wow, Tezzy, thank you for that,
Yeah.
for that info. And like from your stance, I've heard Lilek earlier. She shared more about the situation in Kenya, how there's also some stigma in some societies with regards to when someone is maybe addicted to that, to drugs, or maybe have some form of addiction. There seems to be a stigma. Is it something that you've also experienced? Tezzy? I think we lost Tezzy there for okay.
Hello?
Maybe when he comes back. Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, okay. I think there's a problem maybe with my network, but yeah, we were talking about, I don't know how, maybe you must have seen this subconsciously or something, or I don't know, maybe it's fate, but that was actually the theme of World Drug Day this year. World Substance Abuse Days. I don't know the exact wording, but the theme was ending stigma against drug abuse.
Wow.
Yeah, that was this year's theme. So yeah, it was a huge talk about what are the stigma, what are the misconceptions and the stigma against drug abuse. And I love that we are two Kenyans here, because at least when I speak, they can be somebody to correct me. Because sometimes I feel like I enjoy having people, so that I can speak freely and I can actually give my opinions. So one of the things here I see in Kenya, one of the, if you're on the theme of stigma against drug abuse, there is one of these things we talk about is this, what is it, sayings or slang that describes drug abusers. One of them is, I've seen this trending and I mentioned it, we called it stories jaba. When somebody is saying something that that is a lie, is an outright, or we feel like he's making up a story. So jaba is actually mira. I don't know, cut. I don't know if you've heard of this substance.
I think I've heard of it, yes.
Okay, it's very popular in East Africa. I don't know if my sister Lilac, if I'm pronouncing it okay. You've heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So I think you've heard of this saying that one of the misconceptions of one of the stigmatizations is that saying of stories ajaba, where people who take this specific substance are seen as liars, or people who do not speak truth or something, or people who make up stories. So yeah, one of those things. If you're just giving examples, that's just something I wanted to point out.
Thanks so much, Mandutasi.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, with the drug abuse, if maybe I can talk more about drug addictions and abuses of drugs here in South Africa. It's a lot. It's in the cities. It's sad. It's a sad thing where you see young people becoming homeless. I'm not talking about somebody who who's older, has a house, losing, like people who basically were supposed to start their life, like somebody who's from as young as maybe 15, people start smoking drugs and start living on the streets, in the inner cities, in the streets. And now you see somebody who's maybe 24, but he looks 40 or even older because of the drugs. And obviously even families, they chase them away because they end up stealing because of the drugs. They need to feed the habit, and then they steal from family, and then families chase them away, or they even chase themselves away because no one wants them around, because they know, hey, when they come around, everyone starts like, hey, hide your phone, you know. They start hiding phones, bags, you know. So those are the things that we encounter in SA about the drug abuse. I know Lilek has been to Joburg and has been to Pretoria. It's those are two big cities. And knowing Johannesburg as the biggest city in the country, you see that a lot in the cities, in the inner cities especially. Like you see that more, or even in the what we call the townships. You'll find those places where people who are addicted, very young. It's not really old people, but very young people who are addicted to those drugs, and it has messed their future, has messed so much, and even contribute to crime. You know, crime is also one of those things that affects a country like SA because of drugs. Because some people need to feed their habits, end up going to steal, and yeah. So it's a sad thing, it's a sad reality. But as a country, I think it's now open. People know about it. It's not something to say that child of so and so family. It's already known. I mean, we've all had a friend, or I've had two friends. Even the guy who was supposed to come here, I know him as from primary school. We went to the same primary school, but obviously we part ways as we grow and stuff, go to high school. We went to different high school and stuff. And then he was involved. He got involved into drugs and stuff, but he managed to pick himself up. And I've got another friend who's still addicted to drugs. Very close friend as well, who I was very close growing up, who's addicted to drugs now. He lives in the street. No one wants him. And it's sad because I once met him on the street and I didn't even see him, you know, because drugs really make you dirty. You know, it's a demon. It's an evil thing when it gets hold of someone. You know, it really, man, physically, you can see it really destroys a person so much. So I had this friend, and I didn't even see him when I was walking in town, and the friend was happy to see me, stopped me, and at first I had to try to see who is this, I had to kind of find who's this person who's so happy to talk to me. And I'm like, wow, my old friend, how are you? But it was sad to see somebody in that state, and and they regret, they also they don't enjoy, because he was telling me that, man, I don't enjoy. For me to even greet you, it was even hard for me, because I see a lot of people, I even hide from them because I don't want them to know that I've failed in life, because that's how they feel when they start living on the street and and feeding that habit but not going anywhere. So they hide from people as well. We think it's people that don't want them. They're also shy because they know that when I come, people are just going to judge me. People are not going to be welcoming to me. People are not going to show love to me because of my habits. So it's something that we really have to be sensitive when we deal with them, or dealing with such people. As hard as it is, and I know a lot of people say, leave those people, it's their choice. But we have to realize that it's still the people in our country. Those are still our people that we love, or people that we've had some form of relation with them, So it's sad to see such things, and it's not easy. Some people have gone to rehabs, but they relapse again. They relapse after going to rehabilitation centers for so many times. So yeah, and I hope one of this friend of mine, the guest who was supposed to come, eventually will have another stream where he'll be available, and he can just share how he got out of drugs. and how he got into drugs, because sometimes we don't also see how he got into the drugs, because we've talked about the trauma, but when you look at him, he comes from a good family. So it's sometimes not just about poverty, because sometimes people tend to say, it's people that live in poor areas that get into this because they want to cope with the harsh realities of poverty and stuff. But it's also people who comes from families where they are well functioned. There's maybe both parents in the family, both working, a middle class home, and then somebody goes into they get addicted to something and it destroys their life, or it takes them backwards, So, but yeah, that's something that I can really say from a personal experience, and from a case of South Africa, that it is a big problem. Drugs are a big problem in this country. But for us as a people, we need to continue talking about this thing and bringing more awareness, and also sharing with others how it can be conquered, how to overcome those things,
Yeah, actually, I have a question. So what do you guys think are the causes of drug abuse in Africa?
In Africa, can I maybe answer some? I'm not saying this is the actual answer, but my observation from this is just from observation, no scientific, no, just from observation and from having friends or people that I've seen go into that, because I've friends who are not even who are more addicted, to maybe alcohol than drugs per se. It's sometimes just a thing of a lifestyle thing. It starts innocent, it's like even smoking. It starts with one offer you offered, you start smoking once, twice, and it becomes a habit. Then it's a day-to-day thing where you need to smoke. So even alcohol, with some friends, and I've engaged with alcohol and smoking a bit in my life, in my youthful life. I'll just be honest with everyone and not act like I've lived in a perfect planet or perfect place where I was shielded. I've experienced with those things. Mostly it's just curiosity. Sometimes it's just curiosity. It has nothing to do with coping. It's just something where it's like, it's a peer pressure. It's the environment. And then people just end up getting into it, and it becomes a habit. And the habit, sometimes people cannot control the habit, and the habit now starts controlling them, and they start losing things, money. They start selling their stuff just to feed that habit. So it's something that I can really say that at times it's not just about coping. I hear people say it's coping mechanism, it's trauma. Sometimes it's not even trauma. It's just a habit of environment. Oh man, we're all in a party scene. You also want to be cool, peer pressure. You also want to experiment, and then you're in, And once you're in, it's not easy to come out. Some people, it's easy for them to manage that habit. They can go in and go out quickly. But other people, they've experimented and even went further. Like some people even said they started smoking marijuana as just relaxation. It wasn't really to say, and then they end up experimenting with more hard drugs. Then there was a buildup, and then they lost control of everything. So that's my observation at times. It's curiosity, it's peer pressure, and then there's the trauma aspect of trying to run away from certain issues, or trying to people, they say they are stressed or depression, they are depressed, they just want to lighten up and all that, or switch off from whatever they're going through. But that's what I've noticed. But there's more. It's not just what I'm saying as the cause.
Okay, leave now because my phone is going off. I need to charge it. So when we have this again?
Very soon. Very soon. You talk about the book club or the drug addiction. I'm gonna try to do another stream once. This guy is in a good space and a place where there's good network, and then we'll definitely do it, and we'll hear from his side, somebody who's been into that life. And yeah, soon we'll have something like that. And even the book club, the book review club, will have that as well.
And then how will we know? Will you send a notification or?
Yes, definitely. We will send notifications. We'll send notifications. Sorry about that, family. We'll send notifications. First, obviously, with this something that's going to be online, a live stream notification, and also just maybe do an ad. You can ask His Excellency or Paul to do an ad just to promote the upcoming events, the book review before it starts, or even the other one before we go live, and just to invite the people and make them aware that this is the case. This is what we'll be doing. So we will do another proper stream. It's just today, unfortunately, our guest has issues to connect, so hence we couldn't really hear his story and hear more about this thing.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Dilek, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you here.
Okay, bye.
It was nice meeting you.
Okay.
So, Tezi, I'm not sure if I answered you partly.
Yeah, you've answered me. I think one of those is also, I also have something to suggest also. I think drug abuse is also, it's also related to mental health. I think there is this connection that I think there is, I don't know if it's ignored, but I think mental health of young Africans should also be something that should be considered. I feel like a lot of Africans, especially now in the time of social media, I think a lot of Africans are going through a lot of pressures in life, and I think they're dealing with a lot of maybe anxiety. I feel like they're dealing with things, especially because I see a lot of youth, especially with these issues that we usually have in Africa of unemployment, poverty and all that. I think it gives a lot of youth pressure. So I feel like because of that, they tend to gravitate towards drug abuse, as I think somebody in the comment section said, as a coping mechanism. So yeah, I think that's one of them. That's a huge cause, I think.
Yeah, was it? I remember seeing that that one about, yeah, that's, I think that's Genevieve. She said substitute toxic coping mechanism for positive coping mechanisms like exercise, journal, self-care. Sometimes there's a lack of knowledge around how to cope with life. We are all healing from something. Wow, very profound, Genevieve.
I agree 100%.
So this is a good suggestion, Mendatezi. I think you need to go to Red Cross and tell them we've got Genevieve. We need to call Genevieve from Namibia to come and really give us some of this talk. So I'll bring some of the solutions.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the exercise. Sometimes, I think also there's also people just need somebody to talk to, especially when you are going through hardships in life. Like people, I think the general instinct is to isolate yourself. And, so I feel like, yeah, sometimes just talking to people can just replace, because I talked to some people in that meeting. I wish you knew about this. Maybe they could have brought them here, and they would have talked about their experiences. But one of the things that I see, especially when it comes to alcoholism, is that people they feel like without alcohol they don't have friends to talk to or stuff like that, or people to connect with us. So they use alcohol as a means to just have someone to talk to, or a means to connect with somebody. Maybe easier, or maybe they are maybe in a, what is it? How do I put it? It creates a social situation where they can talk to somebody and talk about their issues or stuff like that. So having someone to talk to usually makes a big difference when it comes to people who are into substance abuse.
I agree. That's a really good point. And perhaps they can use the same time that they would take to make comparisons on social media. You use that same time to speak to someone about the troubles. Because the comparisons on social media, making comparisons with others and buying into the impression that they are making more progress in life than you are, is certainly driving the wave of depression and anxiety that we are observing.
Yeah, actually, also the social media has a very interesting effect. Actually, I don't know if you've seen this from where you are, but it's this push where it's actually contributing. Social media in itself is actually contributing to the brain drain of Africa. Like, I feel like people, when they go, people are trying even harder to immigrate maybe to the Europe, or basically the Western world, when they see their friends taking, when they see their friends in social media posting out, maybe when they're in France or Europe or in Canada or even in the States, and you find that, so these guys are living. Okay, they display that, especially they give the impression that life is much easier in the West. So you find that because of that, I see a huge push and a huge drive by the youth in Africa because of social media, to go to the West so I feel like there's this a contribution to brain drain. Like, I feel like social media is becoming it's a huge catalyst. Let me use that word. It's a huge catalyst to the brain drain of Africa. I feel just another effect of social media that I've noticed.
I agree. And sometimes people post photos of themselves standing next to cars that are not truly theirs. Like the Mercedes Benz, and to create a false impression of enjoying more success than they actually do.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people come out and say that, a lot of people, because even, people would say you post a photo of a car that is not yours, you post maybe, and I've noticed a lot of these posts are usually just somebody walking in a very beautiful looking street, It's like, hey, look at this. I mean, they never post in their homes. They never post their homes but you see,
I have.
But you see, you see, the youth are fooled by this. They see, so look at this beautiful street. Look at this guy. He's posting happily. So we should even try harder, work hard. So people are working hard to move to the West. And I feel it's a very sad phenomenon that's happening because of this social media push. But even when they are told that life is hard in the West, just as it's hard in Africa, but I feel like there are those, there's this claim that no, that's not true. Look at these pictures, look at these guys who are happy, even though you see even the other situation of Canada. Is it Canada where people are out? Well, I don't know if it is in the US or it was in Canada, where a lot of African immigrants were living on the streets. So I saw that, and still people don't believe. Still people don't believe that life out in the West can be hard or can be. They always believe that the grass is greener in the other side. So yeah, I think that was just generally my point, that social media is really doing a little bit of damage when it comes to Africa retaining its youth potential.
Yeah, you're right, Mwenditazi. It's in Toronto, Canada. Yes.
You see, and they see that, and I don't know, maybe somebody can talk about it. This is exactly why, and I even see this in the situation with Niger. Okay, I've never known how to pronounce the name of that guy. Is it Niger? I don't know how to pronounce it, but
yeah, but you can say Niger. I mean, everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, you see, I feel like this is why I say the mental health of the continent. People really ignore this, but it's very important, because when there is a sense of hopelessness, there's this wave of okay, it's never going to change. It's never going to change. Things are just like this forever, or there's like, because even when I see this coup, when I see what's happening I see the people choosing Russia, others are choosing the West, others I don't know where they're choosing. I always feel a little bit sad, because what do the people? Nobody is looking at the things that matter, which is the people. Where they're like, guys, 17% of that country is connected to the only 17% have electricity. And I'm thinking, okay, nobody's talking. Maybe we should be talking about those. These are the things that people care about, because this is where they live. That's their home. It's not about. To me, I don't feel like when I know it's much more interesting and intriguing to talk about the global geopolitics, the Western powers versus the Eastern powers and how they are. But when you look at these leaders, what are they doing to improve the lives of just the ordinary person over there? That okay, now we will maybe this year we will make from 17% electricity, we'll push it to maybe 30%. And such, when maybe people who have maybe hungry, maybe it's 30% of the people are starving, maybe we'll reduce it to 20%. Things like this, they do wonders to the mental health of just people, because it gives them hope. Oh, so that sense of, okay, we are improving, okay, and youth will feel okay, they have a chance to do something in their own countries, than looking like, oh, now we just need an escape route, because I feel sad when I see pictures of African youth waving Russian flags in Africa. Like what's happening there? Like where is it's a little bit like, have you just like, now you have just lost all. To me, I feel like you have lost hope of your own country. Instead of waving the flag of your own country, now you've just submitted from one power, you've just submitted to another power. And I feel like this is why I see a lot of, and I guarantee you that this is why I see a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression that's happening in Africa because of this. And you can see that at some point you can connect the dots, and it can lead to substance abuse.
Yes, definitely.
So if I'm understanding you, Mwendatezi, it's a matter of development, keeping people busy, like activities, development in a country can sort of ease off the pressures of people thinking they need to get an escape route, and if they cannot get an escape route out of maybe their own environment or own places, others obviously they opt for drugs, whatever, or substance abuse. Others opt to leave the country, as you said, that there's people who see maybe a family member posing in a nice street in New York, in the Wall Street, or somewhere in California there next to the beach or something, and we're thinking, hey, my brother is living their life, only to find out, hey, man, let this guy show you where he stays, then you'll see the truth or the reality of what's happening.
Yeah, people, oh yeah, of course there's that aspect. Then there's also the aspect of people just needing to believe that they can make something out of themselves in Africa. You know, I think youth really need that. I think people, especially young people, you know, because, you know, there's also this sense that youth is something that is fleeting, right? You feel like, while I'm still young, let me see if I can make something out of myself. So if they believe genuinely that, oh, I can actually make something out of myself in this continent, then I think the number of people fleeing through all sorts of means, you know, whether legal or illegal, to the West, I think will be greatly reduced. You know, sometimes it doesn't, you know, I think people think that maybe you need to have all, sometimes it just needs that feeling that, oh, we can make something out of ourselves here. There is opportunities for us here. So I think if a lot of African leaders focused on that, I think there will be a lot of this, you know, sometimes our problems in Africa, a lot of them are just mentality issues that if we had the right mentality, probably will solve a lot of problems in Africa. So I feel like a good African leader, is the one who is capable of just shifting that mentality, giving young people hope that they can do something in their own countries, they can make significant contributions in Africa. And yeah, I think there is also that slight evidence, maybe give them some, you know, because we know in Africa, when we hear corrupt leaders or impunity or just the West having its way, like obvious, like, you know, when you know, it gives people forget when you see the news and you see maybe some Western supported dictator who has gotten power, or some, you know, I think America, I saw this video, the US just having a small taste of just their democracy being interfered with with a foreign nation, and you can see how much it really affected them. And it was just, you know, that small interferences, I think received by the Russians or something like that, or when China put that balloon thing over there, you know, look how it really, you know, and that's just a small test, and you can see how it does what it does to just the mentality of a whole nation, you know. So you can just imagine youth in Africa, just that's the order of the day, that when they see that their governments are puppets of maybe West or something like that, or whether it's the West or the East, they see their governments just, you know, following the will of foreign forces. You can see, you know, you can just see what it does to the mental health of just a whole nation. You can just see what it, you know, what it signals. So you can just, I don't know, I'm starting to see this, especially in this time of social media where everybody just expresses themselves. So you tend to get a lot of views from a lot of just, you know, a lot of Africans, what they think about their countries and all that. So my point is that I think a lot of effort needs to be done when it comes to the mental health, on the mentality, just basic mentality of the African youth. because I think there is a battle that we might be losing, and we don't know. It might not. We might look at the news and say the things, but we might be losing a battle, a silent battle, just here on daily life, and we might not even be aware of it.
Yeah, I get you, man, Tezi. True to what you're saying. And I'm just going to go to the comment section. I see some people that have been really active. The connector says they need a good a moral code and willpower. And also a comment prior to that was, I think I had shared also a book, another book that was shared by Marie Antoinette as well, that you shared about the book written by Professor Ai Kwei Ama, remembering the dismembered continent. Remembering the dismembered continent. That's another book suggestion. And also, which one? Okay, the land. Oh, another question earlier as well from the connector regarding the issue of peer pressure. The connector says, why don't we peer pressure each other into taking care of the land like we used to? Wow, that's a good question from the connector. Like sometimes it looks like the peer pressure is only on wrong things. It's not on good things. But Swahili Nation is here to peer pressure each other into doing right for our continent and doing right for the development of Africa. And then what else? Who else? I see Reggie. Reggie says it's good to hear your voice again, Sister Marie Antoinette. Another comment from the connector saying also we shouldn't have to cope with life because it shouldn't be difficult. Example, Africa is very rich, yet most citizens are poor. Kids are digging up riches but die starving. Wow. Wow, the connector. And then where else? Let's see. Okay, I think there was a compliment from the connector to Genevieve. What else? And there was another a comment from Genevieve again saying there's way too many people representing toxic lifestyles on social media. We need people representing wellness and make it famous. Wow, I somehow agree with this statement that there's way too many people represent toxic lifestyles on social media. Especially when you look at views, look at some of the things that really do not build society. Maybe somebody just posing naked on social media and there's like 1 million or 2 million, whatever views on that, and there's nothing really of value that one is adding to society by just being, naked. And yeah, that's just one. There's a lot, obviously. It's not that only. Another one by the connector, it says, so if Africa give if African citizens give their faith to currency and materialistic things, they'll have citizens like the USA, but without the power structure. Shaking my head, creating a hell. Wow.
Yeah, I actually agree with the Genevieve. Hello?
Yes,
we're hearing you.
Oh, okay. Because I was talking to one of my professors. He was telling me that when I think he got his like PhD in China, something like that, and he said that the social media in China and Africa are two different things. Like there is a bit of the algorithm in China and promotes people who have maybe created inventions, or people who are, people who are reading books like what you said, and people who are maybe studying, or all this educational and wellness. But when he came to Africa, he realizes that the algorithm in Africa does not promotes the opposite. So I don't know who is in charge of the. Okay, I know who is in charge of the algorithm, but I think this is one of the important points that we need to have, that we need to maybe have control of our own, even, social. Do Africans even have control of social media the way we think we do? Because a lot of this, like even here, this platform is not controlled by Africans, right? We see a lot of Africans complaining when they talk about we have to use different languages in the Pan-African space because some words might be triggering, and we might, even Mika once talked about in the previous stream when he was talking to what's the other channel, Africa Tunacheki, when he was talking to the Tunacheki channel, and he talked about how when he promotes Pan-African views, he gets strikes on all that. So sometimes we need to look at social media in a very interesting perspective, that it's not really us who's controlling what comes in front of our screens. It's somebody else who puts these pictures and videos and all these posts in front of our view, so that we know, because we should be careful. And I feel like maybe it's a time for Africans to have. I have tried to have our own social media. I have tried to support African social media. I usually look for apps that are African in the Google, in Android. I look for a lot of apps that are developed by Africans, especially social media apps, just to see if I can promote them and be active in them. So I think we should also push that we should also be aware that if we promote our own innovators, like you talked about. I saw you show a book about Java, Pastor Ezra. We should be waiting for you to give us your own app here, so that we can also stream there. So that so that we can control our own algorithms, and if this is how this is how we push our own narratives, because I feel like also this when you look at these narratives of going to the West, it's pushed by the same these social media companies that are pushing these narratives, these hashtags that will trend and the hashtags that will not trend. I think it's already been exposed that they are actually manipulated, right? So sometimes I feel like when we see a lot of in our youth here that there's a huge vulnerability. I see a huge vulnerability to what they see, because people right now, youth enter social media at a very young age, and parents cannot always control what their children are going to see in social media. So I feel like as the African child is very vulnerable to a lot of propaganda and influence from those who own these social media sites, those who control these algorithms, So yeah, that's a huge point my sister from Namibia made, that a lot of non-wellness, non-educative or content is really pushed to us here as Africans, instead of the ones that are supposed to build the continent, the ones that were, the ones that are supposed to inspire us to do better and give us that mentality that we require, So there needs to be a deliberate push. I saw Nigeria do that. I think, I don't know what happened when Nigeria banned Twitter and they were planning to have their own social media. I don't know what happened with that plan. But yeah, I feel like there should be a deliberate political push for such.
I think that plan was just a reaction. When we react without and a plan of action, it becomes something really useless. They'll just do they'll just ban something for a few months and then they're back at square one. I mean, they open again for those platforms. I think they didn't really have a plan of action in terms of when you replace such a big platform, what can you do? What have you been doing? Do you promote one that is local, especially with China? As much as what you said about China and your professor or the friend who did his PhD outside in China, you must also remember the Chinese are also promoting their own social media platforms more than the more popular American social media platforms. Like, for example, in China, Facebook, they struggled in China. They even complain about being hacked so many times. Google also struggled in China because they also said the same thing. I mean, look at the Chinese really promote their own stuff. Like in terms of WhatsApp, for example, the Chinese, most of them don't use WhatsApp. They use WeChat, which is a Chinese app. On the let's say buying stuff, they also use more like your Alibabas than Amazon, of which most of us in Africa, we use more the American apps to do purchases and stuff. But the Chinese, they support their own more than the other platforms from other countries. So if we are also doing the same, it'll help us. I mean, to make sure that our companies that are homegrown, especially the small tech companies that are coming up, Kenya, especially you being in Kenya, which is also one of the hub for a lot of IT startups in the continent. We need to be supporting some of the apps or some of the social platforms, whether it's that are coming from Kenya, and it has to start from Kenyans supporting it and popularizing it and taking it to the world or taking it across the continent so that it can be something that we know, okay, this is an African online, maybe a shopping platform. Let's support it, you know? So with the Chinese, they support us before they support anyone else. And
but you see,
resources.
You see, I agree with you, but you see, this is the point that I was like, the Chinese government is supporting their own homegrown apps and their homegrown tech industries, you know. So we need to see that in African governments too. That's why I was talking about the Nigerian one. You know, we need, African governments need to make it difficult for all these other international or multinational tech companies to operate in Africa, so that our own homegrown, we come up with our own homegrown tech solutions. You know, that's what I was trying, because you know, even here in Africa, we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of people who very talented software developers. They're here in Africa. We see them all the time, coming up with all these great innovations and stuff like that. But because, you know, a multinational or a Western, you know, tech company can just come and dominate an African industry, just because, you know, it's easy for them, you know. So we need policies. That's why I always look at when you talk about leaders. This is why I always look, when I talk about leaders. This is why I always focus on the policies. Like, what are they doing? Even when you see in the WhatsApp group, I always say, well, this leader, is he taxing? We should be taxing this. Like, I see what's happening in Uganda. He's taxing the Facebook. He's taxing Twitter. Yeah, tax them so that they have hard time operating here, so that we have our own homegrown social media channels. I've seen the advantages of Safaricom M-Pesa. If you know, it's popular. I think you've heard of it, right?
What is it again? Safari?
Safaricom.
M-Pesa, the M-Pesa app, the M-Pesa. That thing has really helped Kenya just have some sense of control in its own finances. Like Kenya, I think, is one of the most financially, because you can send, even in the village, everybody has this thing. So you don't even need a bank account. You just have this app, or you have this software in your phone. that even you can send money from to the village, and it is like I don't know how it's so widespread that it has helped a lot of Kenyans, you know, and because of that, a lot of tech, because it has grown to be so powerful that even when you have this Cash App or these other guys who have tried to enter the Kenyan market, they have failed because they cannot compete with M-Pesa, you know. So I've seen so I've already seen one of these advantages of just having our own, and because of that, M-Pesa is actually when Kenya was having a dollar shortage, the government just told M-Pesa, hey, don't make it difficult for people to control this leakage of dollars, or so it's actually used even to promote Kenyan interests in Kenya. You see, if you cannot tell another app if it was not made in Kenya, the government cannot tell it, hey, don't make it that Kenya will gain from this dollar shortage, not lose, you know. So I feel like, imagine if it was social media, like just like I don't know, YouTube or something. If we had our own here, you can see that the government will just say, okay, promote education, promote. You look at this Pan-African, so look at Swahili Nation, promote it. Look at all these other Pan-African channels, promote things that will make African youth be innovative instead of all this other content that is pushing us to mental health, depression, or just in Kenya we say usherati. I don't know if the English word of usherati. It is ratchetness. Instead of promoting ratchetness, you can promote the opposite, right? And you'll see you can actually build a whole culture through social media. You can change a whole country's culture through just social media. That is the power of that African governments have yet to realize, or maybe they are slowly realizing. I don't know. I have yet to see any huge move by an African government to promote maybe homegrown tech. I don't know, maybe in South Africa you can tell me, maybe the government is pushing, but so far in this generalizing in Africa, I'm yet to see this huge push or huge support in the tech industry from African governments in general,
I think that they are trying. I mean, with Kenya as well, it's trying also to build a lot. I mean, about the Konza city as well as one of those cities where they're trying to do a smart city that's going to also promote like some of the tech companies. Even in SA, they're also doing something in the Cape Town area. They're also trying to have something similar to what you guys call your Silicon Savannah. I think it's called Cape Silicon or Silicon Cape or something like that, where a lot of tech companies are trying to also be within the same area where knowledge can be easily sourced, talent can be easily sourced, and also the startup culture to be there. And there's been a couple of companies that have been propping up, especially on the online space. Like I know in South Africa, one of the more popular local one it's called Take a Lot. It's also an online platform. I've also used it to buy some stuff online on it. And I'm not paid by Take a Lot for those who know it and might think, oh, I'm promoting them, but it's a local online shopping platform, and it's linked to so many other suppliers. So yeah, they link up with suppliers for different products that are offered online, and you can buy through them, collect it, or have your shipment dropped at your house. So yeah, there's been some that are coming up. Others are very small that we don't really know much about them, but they are there that have even received funding to expand their product offerings and stuff. But we are coming. I think if you look at so far what I've what I've heard of, it's obviously the Kenyans, South Africa, Nigeria. They also have something like that where they're trying to build a sort of a tech hub or a tech culture where tech companies can really get even more venture capitalists, injections, funds, and all those things. So it's something that's growing across the continent, and I'm sure in the coming years we definitely going to have a lot of African home-based companies, especially in the IT space. They are already there. It's just some of them, they are not as big as Google. They're not as big as Microsoft or any of this. They are there. It's just maybe on a smaller scale or on a local scale that hence they are not known, or even on a country level. But they are there and they are coming up. It's just a matter of the reach and also customer base, growing and stuff.
Yeah, they're there. I agree with you, Pastor Ezra, that they exist. They are there. They are growing. What I'm just pushing for is that for more support, they need more intervention. Like on the Chinese level, that's what I'm pushing for, that they need that type of intervention for them to really thrive, because I don't feel like it's fair for them to compete, with these giants here. They need their own, space to thrive, so that because now, like here, if somebody has their own, like an African comes up with their own maybe video streaming application, it's not fair for him to fight directly in the same space with YouTube. You give him some small space so that he can grow and develop, so that so there needs to be some sort of innovate. They need to, I don't know, the government needs to become a little bit inventive, and level the playing ground, especially the way China is leveling the playing ground, by promoting, the way he promotes WeChat. But I have seen, because in Kenya, I think I've seen Ajira. It's a platform in which the government also is trying. I see the idea is there. I see the ideas here and there, but now we need strong political will. Basically, that's what I'm pushing for. Strong political. I wish Nigeria had gone through with their threat to create their own, and Nigerians are very good have very huge influence in Africa. If they had gone through with their threat and created their own, we'll be using it here right now. I'm very sure.
Yeah, I agree.
They have the numbers to back them, and if you look at all the countries that have, like even China, they have the numbers backing them. Even if a company is just big in China, it's already big, and in the numbers on the customer base, it's already there. The numbers are there for you. So even Nigeria, with over 200 million people, that's why even their artists, they can sell so much, or even be almost everywhere globally. And also looking at their numbers, they have the numbers to back them. They have a lot of people from Nigeria who are living in other countries, in the US, living in the UK. So they have the numbers to back them for anything they need. So unlike other countries in Africa where they have smaller populations, and it's for you to break through at times, it can be a bit challenging. The numbers can sometimes not be in your favor, but if you've got a good product, you've got a good product. And if you can market it well, and know your market, know your niche, know where you need to place it. It doesn't matter sometimes whether you're coming from a country with a small population. But Nigeria, as you say, the influence also comes with the numbers. They have the numbers to back them. The Chinese come with the numbers can back them. The Indians, they come with the numbers back them as well. That's why even on a labor level, when we talk about for example, manufacturing, it's still hard to compete with those nations that have a lot of human resource, because and also having really flexible labor laws. It's easy for them to do certain things, unlike other countries where the laws are a bit rigid for certain things, you know. And hence you see those countries in Asia sometimes doing well and having more of the manufacturing jobs because they've got the numbers to support production, to work in factories, to work long hours than how we are working here in Africa even, you know. So yeah, but as you say, and also another thing, when you're looking at the tech space, I think we also need to look at the power of some of the big boys, if I may use that word, big boys. Like, I mean, let's say now YouTube. I mean, YouTube is backed by Google already. It's Google's baby. I mean, even the social media now. I mean, Facebook, they took over WhatsApp. So it's like sometimes even if you run from this one is still owned by this one. There's a lot of like same people, just different products. And sometimes when you don't know, you think, I hate this one, but you find that you're still using the same. Those people are still getting money from you on another platform. So yeah, that's another thing with the all the more popular apps. Most of them, they are all held by almost like few people or few companies that own almost a lot of things. Hence, there's what we also call in South Africa. I know if you've heard of Malema saying white monopoly capital. I don't know if you've heard that word. When they say white monopoly capital, they talk about. Sometimes they just make it as if it's a local thing, but it's almost in most countries, you find that the few own a lot of companies, even when people don't even know. Like, for example, let's just look at Coca-Cola as a brand. People just look at Coca-Cola as a brand, but as a company, look at how many companies they own. Look at companies like Pepsi. How many brands do they own? In your shelves, when you go into a supermarket or a store, how many products are owned by few companies, but you don't realize that you're just buying the same, you're still buying from Coca-Cola. When you're drinking Bonaco water, it's Coca-Cola. When you're eating like your Lay's chips or your Lay's fries, I mean, it's all few companies that are owning a lot of brands, and they just put them there as independent brands. But if you look at the shareholding structure, it's very few people who own those companies. So that also plays effect when the small guys are trying to penetrate the market, how they even block them aside, you know. But anyway, you're saying,
yeah, you know, you've made a very strong point. But look at what happened with the TikTok fiasco just the other month, where companies like Google, I don't know, and Facebook going out of their way to influence American political structures to ban it. So you see, like, we don't know this. We don't know who owns all these companies. You know, like the way you say, we don't know WhatsApp. It might be owned by somebody else, or by the same person. But do you know who knows? The government knows. The government knows who owns all these guys. So we're looking. I'm pushing for our governments to be deliberate, because other governments are deliberate. The Western, even, you know, and it's not just a China thing. Even the Western government are deliberate in who dominates their markets. So why are not? We should also be pushing for our own governments in Africa to be very crafty and deliberate when who dominates in not only just the tech industry, but just all industries. Like you said, Coca-Cola, or all. We should be very deliberate on who dominates these industries in Africa. You know, how can an African company struggle to compete with a multinational from the West in their own country? You know, that it's not supposed to be so. You know, that's why governments have the power to tax, to control bandwidths and all that. That's why they have all that power to protect their own interests, and then the government interests should be the interests of their businesses that belong to that country, right? So this is why I'm saying that African governments need to push more in promoting African businesses. As you are saying, they are there. They are not, it's not like as if they're going to be made up from nothing. They are already existing. They're just small because they are, because they are small for a reason also. Because they are being suffocated. They are being suppressed by this big, what you call white monopoly capital. It's suppressing them. So we need our own governments to protect them from this white monopoly capital through the means that they have, the legal means that they have, like through taxation, through controlling, like one of the, it can even be crafty, because I see Google complaining all the time about how China is is using crafty means not to, for them, blocking them through very crafty means, maybe bandwidth, maybe Google is slow in China, all this, why is not, we should be, our own government should also be that crafty, like, okay, we will not block you, but we'll make you very slow, like, so that our own developers can create a very better alternative, and we all, as Africans, we all jump in, and we have our own control, because in the end of the day, I know, and I'm so afraid, because I saw Elon Musk. He has this his Wi-Fi. I don't know what it's called. It's Starlink. Starlink, yeah. It's now penetrating in Africa. And I'm waiting for governments to react, because now even our internet now is going to be controlled from the West. It's going to be now when they can switch off the internet of our whole, because that's a lot of power. They can now switch off the internet of our whole country if we are not careful and we allow these things to just penetrate like that and dominate. They will be even having, this is just all contributing to the soft power of the West. Because when Starlink dominates, when this other Coca-Cola, look at what they did to Russia. They were saying, oh, we will just shut down, before even they go to physical war or something, they'll just, okay, we will shut down your internet, we will shut down we will remove access to all these industries that we dominate in your own country. So that is because of that, they have huge influence, through that soft power. So we need to also limit the soft power of the West, and not just the West, even the East, by having our own. And another thing I also talked about, I also think, is this thing where the BRICS, why if we don't even, if we don't even have our own fully developed industries, these BRICS will not help us. Because, at least when we know in BRICS, we know China, they have these industries and they want this. They know what they want clearly. Russia, they have these industries and this is what they clearly want. Africa, we just want, our needs are so abstract. Oh, we just want to change in world order. We don't, it's because we don't have we don't have industries to say these are our real interests. We don't have physical interests. We just have abstract interests, because so our governments need to push for our own industries so that when we come even on the table, when we sit on the table, we know, oh, we have this tech industry. We want it in your country. We want to push these companies here. We want them to operate in your country. That is how we will get respect in that table. Not, oh, we don't want to be oppressed. Oh, we don't want to. It's not. We are like children in that table. We are like, people are talking business. We are talking about, I don't know. That's just my own point.
I agree. I agree 100%. I agree.
But Matthias, you've raised something very, very important and very interesting. Come to think of what you said, in fact, shame, man. It's the fun. It's the truth. Very funny, but it's the truth of what we there, but we're not really having like a really concrete, really things that are very specific to say this is what Africa's needs. The definite things that are really going to be on the ground, unlike all this generic demands like we need equal treatment and because it goes.
Oh, we want respect. You know what? It's like, you know.
Hey man, we Africans, we need, you guys need to respect us. We are men here. We are all men here.
You know. I feel very sad, because China is like, okay, we want to develop our semiconductor industries need, even when they come to they have, we need to our semiconductor industries to develop, we want these materials to develop this part. They have such, it's so easy, like, to even their interests. But here, we are here looking for, I see our leaders, we are all the same here, we want to be, we want to be respected, we need a change in world order. That is what, and I was like, my brother, talk about the industries in your country. Talk about the industries, those are your interests, even if they are small. You should be talking about, what, like, who is this guy, like, we want M-Pesa to operate in the United States. Like, we want all these, our own industries to also be multinational, to have, so that we can also push our own soft power. But we have zero soft power as Africa, zero soft power, So we are there just looking for all this morality, I don't know what in that table. Yeah, and because our demands are so funny, they can even tell us we don't even need to negotiate today. They just, yeah, we'll give you respect. That is what BRICS, Russia. Look at what Russia is telling us. We'll give you respect. And now Africans are celebrating. We have been given our respect. While Russia is getting the minerals in Africa, we are getting our respect. They are respecting us. While China is getting is developing its industries. Africa, all they need to do is just give a speech how Africa is an equal partner in this world. How when our president goes to Africa, to China, is given the guard of honor. Oh my God, we are so loved. That's all we need. We are just happy now. Instead of actual, concrete, like you said, concrete, specific objectives. I think we need to really develop our foreign policies as Africans. And say, okay, yeah.
No, I was wondering, how do you make the shift from being idealistic to being a little more pragmatic and practical? Like, do you think it's our religious base that does this? Because
I don't think. Okay. Yeah, let me.
So different from the rest of the world. Yeah, I'm finished.
The way we can make the shift is how when we're having the only way is industrialization. That's the only way. Is that there is no other way. It is, and that's why when I talk about this, when I hear this nonsense about carbon credits, and I feel frustrated. Like, what is this? It's a plot to keep Africans, not industrialized. Like, because now we are being paid to be poor. Because you cannot say that we're not going to use fossil fuels, while these countries are using millions. Even if you look at the ratio, is just impossible. And us to develop, we need it, and we'll just give you some small money, and we just for you to maintain those forests over there, or just for you to not build any industry that will emit carbon. While them, they are building cars, building all these things that it takes, just to build just a laptop. I'm sure there is carbon being emitted just to all those machinery and all that. But as what are we getting told? No, Africa is green. As we, they even give us these words so that because they know we love respect, they tell us we are the world's lungs. We feel important because no. The only way to shift this mentality is by allowing our industries to develop. Like this, the way we talked about this text, because their interests will become our interests. When we have tech companies that are employing thousands and hundreds of thousands of Africans, and their interests will become our interests, and they'll become government interests. So that when they go to the table, we have these companies here that want to sell this, and they want to expand to your territories. The way they want to extract whatever we should even have the audacity to say we want to extract some minerals from your territories to develop some industries here in Africa. We should. If they're doing it to us, we should be also. That is what we need. Because even I look at Congo, I look and I feel like, oh my God, all these minerals here. Not even one big industry in Africa using them. They have become a problem. They have become a problem of the West. You just see Western. Look at Wagner. Wagner is pushing for francophone companies, francophone countries pushing. They're entering not to help us. They are claiming. To me, I see that they're just having the same interest as the West. To me, they're no different, but they're there to extract and develop their own, And if Russia was a friend of Africa, I've always thought if this Russia is really our friend, they will give us the technology. They will not give us guns. Teach a man how to fish. Give us we have professors here. We have all this. Let us know how to make this guy. When they enter that is the only negotiation we should be having with countries like Russia. Oh, you want us to give us those intellectual properties so that we make our own guns. If you want, not you selling us guns or giving us guns for free. I'm not a big fan of that. Give us that intellectual properties. I'm supposed to be hearing our own professors, our own intellectuals going to Russia, learning how to bringing that back here. The way they did it with Taiwan. See, Taiwan. They make semiconductors because that guy went to US, learned about all that stuff, and he came back to Taiwan and built that. We should be having such programs with China, with Russia, all these other countries that claim to be part of us, to help us. So instead of giving us all these fancy speeches, this is what, to me, this is how BRICS can be useful. If it is supposed to be useful to us, and another thing I was ashamed of, just to finish up, was that the BRICS summit will not have Putin. He will not be coming to South Africa, right? And to me, that was a sign of huge embarrassment just to Africa. We have the West has shown no. This one is this is our property here. You are not going to travel to South Africa. You cannot travel in Africa that we own there. The way it just felt so like even as equal partners, that equal partnership that we want, we are not equal because Putin can travel to China. He can even travel to India. He can travel but he cannot travel to the African partner in BRICS. Because Africa still has, is still subject to Western influence. So even that feeling of equal partner, to me, it has diminished in that organization. I feel like they will not see Africa as a serious equal partner, just because of that. I'm done.
I think that the catch there with the BRICS currently, I think South Africa sort of was put under pressure by its biggest trading blocks, which is Europe and the US. And that also is going to affect a lot of countries, even if they join BRICS. as long as their trading partners is still the US, it's still the European Union, they're still gonna be threatened all the time to say. Remember, part of they even mentioned the is it what the AGOA or ALGOA thing, the trade pact that Africa has with the US. They kind of threatened SA in a way to with that as well, to say, hey, maybe we might be omitted from the list. We'll trade with, they'll get favorable trading conditions, the other countries, but you'll not. We'll just treat you like anyhow, you know. So I think partly that until BRICS can become strong within BRICS, meaning China, India, Russia, Brazil, South Africa, if they can trade more outside Europe and the US, then it's going to be much easier to say, hey, this is our organization. Every member comes and visit any member's country without it being threatened. Currently, it was a matter of Africa still trades with the West more than Russia, for example. Most Africans are buying weapons from Russia more than any other thing. So that is still going to be an issue. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be an issue for South Africa only, but for even other countries that are still trying, that are not big economically, trying to join BRICS. Because if you check, somehow BRICS, it looks like everyone that is going there, it's people who are saying, you know what, the Western system is abusive to all of us, and we need to find something that will be a balancing act to say, if the US system or the West system is not in my favor, there's always another system that I can use. I think most countries that want to join, they partly want to have that kind of leeway to do things. Because I mean, if the US or the West is controlling the financial systems, I mean, and it's them, they set the rules, they set the policies, then I mean the whole world really has to toe the line, and people are tired of that partly, and even they're using it to sanction countries. I mean, we've seen how they've used the SWIFT system to punish Russia, and even other countries in here in the continent, like Zimbabwe, for example, it's still under sanction. Hence, it's struggling to stand up, even though it's fighting so much. So I think until we resolve that issue of to balance the power of the world financially, especially, we're still gonna have issues. As long as the West still controls the financial systems, it's not gonna be easy for any country to challenge them. That's why they can unite and cripple someone if they want to sideline that person, cripple them. Even if that's why if you check, China is all. I mean, Russia, for example, in China, at the moment, I think they see that everyone currently, Africa is now the neutral place, and a neutral place in terms of what? It's also becoming a continent that's influential. In terms of resources, the world needs Africa's resources now. They know in the coming years, Africa is going to be the country that, I mean, the continent that's going to be handling a lot in terms of giving the world so much in terms of now resources and food. So they're all fighting for that influence. We cannot sideline. We need Africa as a friend on our side. That's why all of them, they're making all summits with Africa. All these countries, China, Russia, Europe, America, they're all trying to make something with Africa. France, it's also because they know that Africa is Africa's time, and we have no other way but to work with Africa, and we need Africa's resources. So in order to balance the power, the shifting power, we need Africa on our side as well. We cannot let Africa slide and be so influenced by the Eastern countries. I mean, your Asia, for example, like China or India or even Russia. They will not allow Africa to be, because they are benefiting at the moment, and they see in the coming years they still need this partner. And even the Chinese know that they need Africa's resources to keep them afloat, or else they'll face a total collapse.
Yeah.
They also need Russia. They see the oil in Russia. There's a lot of oil there. There's a lot of gas there. I mean, why? And China, partly why. I was watching a documentary why China is also so much invested in Russia being so close and becoming a strong ally is because a lot of their energy consumption, I mean, they cannot meet their national demand. They have to import a lot of gas and even what's this, oil, for example. And Russia has a lot of it, and the West have been blocking Russia. So they saw a route where it's much safer to even transport gas and oil from Russia than even using ships, because ships can be blocked, they can be sanctioned. Some companies that transport oil, the oil tankers companies can be sanctioned, and so things like that. They're also seeing, they're trying to make alternatives for in case should there be a serious altercation with America, where now it's tit for tat in terms of resources instead of companies and all that. Shirley,
I have to say, I'm really proud of South Africa's military exercises with Russia. Yeah, we're working on security at least. Yeah. Because security is important. It's the gradual development of our security is one of the important steps in protecting our resources, from exploitation by Western countries. At least we should learn from our partners and not become dependent on our partners, such as Russia. The famous South African Credo Matua actually created some weapons, but as far as I know, they were never commercialized, but he was an innovator. He did create weapons that were functional. Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, just people like Credo Motor. There's a lot that they did. I mean, African knowledge as well. A lot of African knowledge. He had a lot of that info. It's just obviously the commercialization of that. As they say, if sometimes the ones with the money at that point, if it's not going to be for their own benefits, they won't support it. Or if it's going to conflict with their own interest, they shut it off in a way. Mandatezi, how you talk something about weather there? Is it cold? We're also still in winter here. It's still cold if you see me wearing a jacket like this.
Yeah,
your side, are you guys still enjoying your last days of summer? Which season are you in now? Is it spring? Is it what? Not spring. Probably what? Autumn? What season are you going into now?
I think we lost Mandatazi.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we only in my place we only have a rainy season and a dry season. We don't have all 4 seasons. So
yeah, Caribbean,
it's tropical. So that's right now. It's really a mixture of a lot of sun and a lot of rain. I'm not really seeing clear seasons anymore.
Wow. We still here down south. We still enjoy. We still in the cold. Yeah, we're still in the cold, and we even experienced some snow in Joburg, in Johannesburg, a month ago, which is something rare because snow doesn't fall in Johannesburg. Mostly, it falls in those provinces or states that are really down south, like your Cape provinces, and high altitude places, even like the Drakensberg or Lesotho. those are the places where they have a lot of snow during winter. But up north here where we are, it's normally just dry, cold. Dry, when I say dry, the green, you don't see a lot of things that are green, just very few plants that are green, like evergreen. Most of them, they're dry, they dead leaves. The grass is not green, it's gray and brown. So we, unless if you also, like if you live in the Cape Town, in the Cape Town provinces or states, they have winter rainfall. They're having rain, a lot of rain around this time.
Okay.
And wind. So here up north, mostly just dry, cold, dry, cold weather. But we can't wait for spring. Spring is upon us very soon. But I hear Nairobi is cold. And Mendatezi, since you've lived in both cities, Mombasa and Nairobi, like, how's the weather in Mombasa? Is it still tropical warm? While while Nairobi is cold, how's the weather patterns between these two cities?
Yeah, Nairobi is cold, obviously. I think it's an altitude, especially this time. But I feel like today I saw the sun. Yeah, today the sun went down. You know, it's mostly cold and cloudy during July. Maybe into August a little bit cold, but yeah, today to the point that the sun is rare, you know, in Nairobi. So today I saw the sun. I just celebrate, like, or at least, you know, you've missed the sun. So yeah, in Mombasa it's always warm. It's always warm in Mombasa. It's Kenya has very interesting climate. Like, there are places in Kenya where the climate is actually Mediterranean. Not because of there's a place called forgotten, Yatta. The name is Yatta. It's actually where it's actually a region where Kenya gets most of its fruits, like grapes and stuff like that. It's actually it's a very interesting terrain where it's between two rivers. It's between two rivers, and I don't know what happens. And it's a plateau. It's a plateau between two rivers. I don't know the geography behind it, but somehow it creates some sort of it's not artificial, but technically artificial Mediterranean climate over there. So there's a lot of Kenyan wine is grown over there. So people don't know it. People may not know this, but there's a small wine industry in Kenya that also needs to be protected from the external forces. Just another industry that needs to be protected. Like all this point was just that we have a lot of potential in Africa. And you know, you said something that was very interesting to me, that Africa is the future. This is the time for Africa. You know, I will challenge you to read the newspapers in 2000, in the year 2000. You know, and you might find yourself, and even 1980. You know, you might find yourself reading the same things that you're reading. Africa is the future. The time of Africa is, you know. So, you know, to me, we need to be very careful, maybe with this narrative, because the moment I saw a white person say this, I become suspicious with this narrative. Like, why are you telling me that? You know, you know, I began to be very critical of this narrative, because is this Africa in the future? Is this what they want to keep us believing, that Africa is the now? You know, we just around the corner. Just around the corner is development. Just there, you know. You know.
I think I see where you're getting at, and I think what you're saying is maybe when they're saying it's the future, it's their future, not Africans' future, but their future. They see the future for themselves, and they're selling the image to say, hey, Africa is the future for them because, or the Africa is for now, is because they've already captured the Africa that they need, or they're benefiting now as we speak, and they see bigger benefits in the future. Hence, it's still Africa is the future. I get you, Medatezi.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also, I understand, but I also, that's why I'm pushing. Let's push for vigilance, because I see, like, I also, we have to also give credit where it's due. I feel like the average African is getting more and more knowledgeable about how the world works. I think, that's something we have to just celebrate. Like, at least the average African knows 1, 2, 3 things about the world. Maybe 20 years ago he didn't know, but now at least there is this general knowledge that I see, and because of that, I see even leaders. I see leaders being put to the task. Sometimes, this is why I see, you might see this leader is popular when here on YouTube, he gives the great speeches, but at home, you see, is under fire. Because, the Africans, I see, and I feel nice. I feel like, okay, yes, we are done with the talk. People are looking at policies. People are focused where they need to be focused on, and I'm proud of that. I see when leaders are saying, oh, you support Pan-Africanism, then tax this company. I see pushy. I see industries not unionizing, but I don't know what lobbying. I see even industries. I don't know. I see it all over. I see this manufacturing, even if they are small, we see them with their small numbers. They are lobbying for better policies from their own governments as they deserve. So these are things that we should be pushing, as even here in Swahili Nation or other Pan-African platforms, that let's observe these small industries that do not get a lot of maybe airtime in the trending media or all that. See where they're going, see who's manufacturing, because I even see, I love Nigeria, because Nigeria has this, because despite all the negative media we see about Nigeria, I see them developing their own cars. I see even if it's not catching, but when I see in YouTube, I see this guy who has his own car industry in Nigeria. I see guys, so I feel like I always look up to them to just show us here at Africans we can do a lot of stuff, So to me that's what I will promote as Africans, that we should be vigilant in our policies and be careful of this narrative that's are meant to keep us English, is it platet? Keep us calm, keep us calm. Africa is the future. Africa is the now. Sometimes I feel like this is just meant to calm us down, so that when we are complaining about something, Africa is the future, Africa is the now, then we should not. We should continue pushing for our own objectives.
Instead of agitating for change, they have made us complacent, and that's why we have to be, as you said, very vigilant. The exposure to the way people fact check their leaders in other countries has given us some courage in doing that to our own leaders, keeping them on their toes. So the internet has actually fueled the vigilance, I would say. It hasn't been 100% negative. We just need to keep a healthy balance between entertainment and nation building and continent building, because some of us are still stuck in too much entertainment and social media and not enough constructive dialogue. which is, as you mentioned before, we could look at VK, which is Russia's version of Facebook. Russia has done exactly what you suggested, Mwandutezi. They have their version of Facebook so that they are not vulnerable to excessive propaganda from other countries. They call it vk.com. And it's their government has been aggressive in this regard.
Because they know, because they are aware of what's up with these algorithms and all that. Because they also do that. They also manipulate. So I think also our governments. I think our governments also. I don't think our governments are naive. That's something I also refuse to believe. I refuse to believe that our leaders are, most of African leaders, a lot of African leaders are highly educated. Most of them have, if you look at their academic credentials, a lot of them are highly. So I refuse to believe that they are naive.
No, they're not. It's just that if you, I should have placed this book in the chat. I think I still have time to do it. The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. The leaders of countries with resources are given very attractive offers to implement policies that would facilitate the exploitation of the resources. So it's not that they are naive, but they have been given offers that they simply couldn't refuse because they're not mentally strong enough. It's the mental strength that they need to work on and the resolve to do what is best for their people. And then at the same time, the security aspect to protect such leaders, principled leaders, from being assassinated, because that's also one of the means by which Western powers have access to our resources, by assassinating all the leaders who are principled. See? So.
Wow, family. I think we all miss talking like this. It's been a while since we've had these talks, and I think time is not really on our side for today. But I think for what we've already started, I think we should be having more of this conversation again, Mundatezi. And your show again, Mundatezi. Is the hand still hidden?
Yeah. The hand is still hidden. The hidden hand is still around. It's still working in the background. It's still, yeah.
Fix the hand, please. Fix the hand. We want you back, man. As well.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand. We've been here for 3 hours, so I understand. So people need to go and sleep. So yeah. So let me just give my maybe final remarks. That just to finish on the point I was making, that if an African at this point, at this age of 2023, I think an African leader should be competent enough to protect himself. This thing of assassinations, I think we should not be hearing it. You should at least be competent enough to protect yourself. If you cannot protect yourself now, I don't know if you are really ready to play that game in that table, not to sit on that table, because I'm sure the Chinese premier is also under a huge threat from the West. I'm sure Putin is also under a huge threat from the West. I'm sure even the president of Iran or all these other countries, North Korea, they're all under huge threat from the West. So this African leader, we're not. This is the mentality we need to stop. We're not children here now. If you want to play the game of the global game, you have to also at least be able to protect yourself. At least, that is something that you need to have. That's just like a competency test, So yeah, at this point, 2023, we should not be expecting competent leaders to fail even in their own personal sake. If you cannot protect yourself, then clearly you cannot protect the nation, So yeah, that's just to finish that point. And I've enjoyed this conversation. I've enjoyed talking to you guys. I really missed you guys. And yeah, I hope we continue to discuss all these things, and people continue to raise their views. I'd like to thank Lilac for joining us from Kenya. She also gave a lot of good contributions, and the book she put, she was also very interesting. I'll be looking into it also. Yeah, and thank you guys from the comment section for also all your contribution. Yeah, thank you everybody. I am done.
Thank you, Mandutazi.
Thank you, Tezzy. Cherise?
Well, I think everything was already said. I just want to add another book, which I will write in the chat. It's called Overthrow by Stephen Kinzer. I'm placing the link to it in the chat. So you'll see it. Those two books, Overthrow by Stephen Kinzer, and Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. That should help to create a foundation for our endeavors. So thanks, everyone. I really enjoyed this conversation. I really did. It was necessary at this time, and we continue to keep the entire continent in our prayers, especially Niger and Nigeria and Kenya and South Africa and the Congo, the entire continent, and Ethiopia. Our mental strength is what we need to work on. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Cherise. Thank you, Tezzy, for coming and co-hosting with me tonight. Really appreciate your time and your effort and your contributions. And I'm sure the viewers were enriched by your insight and the info that you shared and the solution that you brought as well. Because one thing is we can talk about problems, but we also need to throw in the solutions and the way forward in terms of how we can resolve or have or fix the issues that are out there for Africa. And I also like to appreciate all the guys who are in the comment section, the viewers that came and subscribed. And we are on 300,000 subscribers. And I just want to shout out to Reggie for being there. Support, thank you for your love and support, Reggie. Thank you, Genevieve, as well from Namibia. Thank you for being on the chat. My internet, again, you are here. Thank you for being on the chat and even here on the stream. T Gamer Boss, thank you. TV Dan, thank you. Who else? The Connector, thank you very much. MM, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And from my side and the Swahili Nation, we're going to wrap up just now. But we will have another show, and apologies again for from our guest who was supposed to be here. Hopefully next time he'll be available to join us, and then we can really have an insight and hear his side, what he has to offer for Africa and solutions with regards to addictions. What else? Family, from my side, thank you again, and God be with you. God bless you. And thank you, His Excellency Mika, for this opportunity as well. Continue supporting, continue subscribing. We need to now go into another level, which is 400,000 subscribers. We've just hit the 300,000 subscriber mark. Let's now aim for 400,000 target. That's our new target. Let's go for 400. Let's go for 1 million. Let's go for another 1 million. But for now, and from my side, I'm just going to close in prayer, and then it will be shalom from my side. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this show. Thank you for all our guests. Thank you for all our subscribers. Thank you for all the guys that came and commented. Thank you for the insight from all different people. We thank you for this opportunity. In Jesus' mighty name, till we meet again, keep us safe. Amen. Thank you, family. Thank you, family. Those who are here in Africa, it's nighttime or morning time. For those who are in the eastern part of Africa, it's already morning. It's a Sunday morning. For us who are in Central Africa, we just less than an hour before we hit the midnight and Sunday morning. And those who are in the US, we know it's in the afternoon. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your afternoons wherever you are. Those in Asia, enjoy your morning, your Sunday morning. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your prayers. Continue supporting Swahili Nation, and Swahili Nation will not stop supporting and bringing you the news and bringing the solutions for Africa. What else am I missing that I might not have mentioned? But yeah, let's go for 400,000 subscribers. And from me, it's shalom for tonight. Till we meet again, God bless you, family. And I love you.
First of all, I think every African should be doing what I do, like everybody, because of who we are, right? We're African. We should love Africa. You know, when I went to South Korea, I realized that Africa is being perceived and viewed very different. I realized that, well, the media, what I see on TV, what people talk about Africa, even my friends, they don't really know about it. It's very negative. It's very negative. That was 2013, and I was like, I must change this. So I started actually there in South Korea. I started to go to schools, to like elementary school, like kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school. I started to go there. That was like my part-time job. I went to, like in Korea, I went to every single city in Korea. I went everywhere in that country, and I was going to these schools. One day I went even close to North Korea. Like there's this one place called Paju. It's just next to North Korea. Like you see North Korea is there, South Korea is here. I went there and I went to kindergarten. These little kids, and these little kids, when they see you, some of them, they start to cry. They just see you, they say, why are you crying? So I was like, why are you crying? So they're scared. These are little kids, but that's what they have been seeing on TV. That's what, like, sometimes some of them, even their parents teach them like that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build a new system that is for Africans, it's for us, a new system that it will support us, it will challenge authorities here in Africa, right? And it will challenge as well, it will defend and protect the image and heritage of Africa, right, from outsiders, Westerners, Easterners, and to build pretty much a new system, because before colonialism we had different system, right? During colonialism, we had a different system. After that, we're still struggling with this system, right? And our forefathers like Haile Selassie, Julius Kambarage Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, Kaunda, and so many others, they tried to build a new system after colonialism that unite all Africans, right, to become one. And they did their part, right? And you know, now they're gone. Nobody's here right now. So it's our responsibility right now, as you know, the sons of Africa, to actually carry on with that move and that fight. And that's what One Africa is standing for. One Africa is not about me personally, but it's about us.